A lot of PS5 games, a lot of God of War, not a lot of shooters recently.
Oh, God of War's coming to PC soon. I can't wait for that.
Yeah, not really gonna help me in Siege now, is it? Just not gonna help me whatsoever. Especially not the snowball game mode.
Yeah, yeah.
But
I was to say, even it's like I guess the snowball game mode's weird too, because it's not like you're shooting a gun anymore either. You're just throwing snowballs.
but anyway, finally, getting into the map, as you can see, as Benny said, we are starting on trophy and statuary. We thought that the Cade maybe could be banned, more so, not that it was a necessity, but just maybe to make attacking a little bit easier, not having to deal with that hard reach denial. Was not banned. Now Arial are running it in the first round because, of course, they would. Very common ban. Like we see Cade's placed on that triple wall to electrify those 3 panels. Don't know if we'll have both of them dedicated to maybe put 1 or put 2 in like some cheeky spots. Make it a bit difficult to fully open up that wall. Have to see. You could see one dedicated to the Aviator Games extension as well. A lot of options, but for Arial, kind of sticking on the site, kind of moving off the site. But right now with 3 players in Trophy or Aviator Games pretty early on, a lot of investment currently on the southern side of the map.
Oh, Kento's gonna drop down though. He's gonna drop to the bathroom. Maybe Eddie might have heard that, but Eddie, yeah, playing the buck though. So I'm assuming they're gonna go below to deal with those electro claws. Whether or not they're placed in a cheeky position or if they're just placed on the wall straight up and nobody really cares. It looks like they just is that it on the wall? I can't tell you because
I think he just threw it on the wall.
Yeah, they just threw it on the wall. So
yeah, he's only used one, so.
Yeah, so he's gonna go below, probably destroy that from below, and we'll see if somebody from Arial wants to challenge that or resist or try and stop them, get a kill. We see Gomez below there. We see Kento down there as well together on the roam. Splash has made their way already through into dining over toward Memorial, seeing enemy pushes through, but nobody's there for the moment.
There's Kento down below as we saw him rotate down through 90 earlier, but not really in a position to start actively contesting. Has Gomez close by, so if he wants to get aggressive, he will certainly have a friend over by the astronomy stairs, but in all likelihood, this little bit of control, living room or kitchen and dining, is going to be ceded to the attack, and they will have an opportunity with either that buck or those impact lifelines. I would say the buck, but right now Eddie's more so watching the flank as opposed to getting this destruction. Instead, he'll be Slash to start opening up an angle, trying to spot the Electroclaw or anybody playing on that main wall, and overall denying that position, of which, so far in the first minute 20, not many people have seemed to venture too far over there. Wimpy would normally be the usual suspect to play on that wall. He was all the way over in study and is now rotating back, so while the Splash needs to find that Electroclaw, there's actually nobody playing there, and that could and likely will be to 2FACED benefit.
Yeah, it looks like you just grenade it from above, though. Looks like, yeah, Silence could throw the grenade. Doesn't destroy Electrical, actually. And Eddie was by himself, pushing towards that Aviator game side, maybe to our cheeky flank later in the round, but he gets caught off by a member on the side of Arial Rise. Named Wimpy, really. So at this point, they have, I think they've destroyed, no, they still haven't destroyed it yet. So at this point, they've gotten one, oh, so they did use 2. So they did, as you said, they used one on one side, one on the other side. So they at least can open up an angle towards that rotate for them. They can open a full wall up, but they can open enough to try and cut off rotates between sites for this execute. Now the question is, they need other control though. They can't just have control inside of Master to deal with that. They need to control Astro as well.
You can see that Wimpy, I think Wimpy actually had a second one. Did it get shot midair, or did he just... I'm not entirely sure.
I don't know what...
Oh, no, he landed it. Okay. Something exploded right as he threw it, and I wasn't quite sure if he landed or not. He will take a lot of damage, and unfortunately for him, it was a little bit mistimed. Holes opened up in the wall to deny the players and get angles on the players playing inside a trophy. But a lot of the positions that Arial need are still firmly intact. One on Astro Stairs that Gomez might need to be aware of, and as they're moving in to get the bomb down, never mind, the player on Astro is dead. But nobody's watching DS Lucas, who somehow rotates in front of the open wall. A major oversight by 2FACED, as the big element of their push was getting the plant behind that bomb chassis and covering through bricks in the wall, and the player that kills the planter rotates in front of the wall.
Yeah, that was... yeah, unfortunately, 2FACED couldn't get any real control besides Master. They opened the Master wall. You know, taking quite a few times to open the wall up. You saw Eddie early trying to maybe go for a B position for a flank later on to disrupt the defenders. Unfortunately, he gets cut off by Wimpy. Then you saw also, I believe, Splash downstairs going for Astro Stairs. He gets cut off by Kento as well, who was on, I believe, either on the hatch or he's downstairs rotating back upstairs. And at that point, it was 2FACED's only real attack was opening triple up and pushing, which they did 6 on the year too. They cleared out statuary. One player pushes in. It was Poison. He tries to get the plant down behind the statue. And despite having, 2 other members inside of Master, they could not stop one player, namely, I believe either it was DS or Kento. I think it was DS. He just runs into Statuary, kills him. He does get traded out, but that allows for someone else to then walk into bedroom or into bathroom. because you know the nomad has to turn around and try and take a fight with the person who kills the planter, allowing for the member to go into bathroom, flank both two players left inside a bedroom. That's the end of the round right there.
Bit of a misplay in coverage, obviously. Also, Eddie solo rotating over towards a 90 to try to clear out there. It seemed like maybe there was a little bit of intel lacking. Maybe he just lost his fight. Not entirely sure. Still very far off from the rest of his team. Only person close by was down below over by Astro. So lost your buck. You brought. Didn't really use much utility. Kind of maybe oversight as well. Moving to Aviator Games, they are sticking with this buck. And even though we didn't see him do much on Trophy Statuary, Eddie was mostly watching the flank as opposed to actively using that skeleton key. Here is a position where if Eddie wants to get a bit more active, he has a lot of very good opportunities to do so. He's quickly entering into living room and library. So not only could he maybe find an early kill onto a player rotating down as Wimpy's over by red stairs, he won't do that. But instead, he'll do what I thought he might, which is actively use his skeleton key to open up the floor either inside a trophy and statuary. Beastly quickly shut down a splash. Taking the smoke off guard, pushing on through after the smoke canister's been thrown, but before it detonates, able to clear out that main stairs player and gain a vital bit of control in the first 45 seconds.
That is huge, though. Kicks with the kill on a Diaz as well, shooting through that softball into games. And that's huge control for 2FACED early. And now he's going to swing. Gomez swing, trying to get a pick off, but Poison's watching intently on that door. They have full control of main stairs and study. And Kento's going to get aggressive now. He's downstairs trying to return back to site, trying to get a flank off, but they're going to run back to site because they have full control of site. So they're going to run in and they're going to overwhelm the last defender, and Wimpy, who's by himself on site. He's going to shot by Splash. Now it's down to Kento in a 1v5. He gets one pick on the kicks, walking into Aviator. He's got to find 4 more, though, and they're getting the plant down behind the bar. Kento's going to return towards 90, looking to see if someone's aggressing towards him, but behind the couch is 80 to finish him off, and 2FACED will take round 2. I
mean, you don't need me to tell you that probably the biggest moment of that round was Splash somehow miraculously managing to get that control on main stairs. Not sure if Arial Arise had holes made in front of the bar watching the angle of bottom main, or if there were, maybe a call wasn't relayed in time, but obviously that was either a misplay or just Splash getting the luckiest timing on God's, or managing to push through the smoke canister detonating after he already made it. He gets main stairs immediately. Everyone from 2FACED immediately starts to compensate for that. You have kicks rotate to the study repel to watch and make sure nobody can start retaking main stairs from study side. You have the same over a 90 because Splash can hold that angle. He also has Silent backing him up as well to play for his trade if anybody gets aggressive. Once Kicks then pushed directly into study and got a kill, I don't really fault DS Lucas all that much for feeling obligated that he had to make some kind of play, or it might have been Gomez, actually, I'm not too sure, for trying to make a play, but at that point, 2FACED had already amassed so much control that the opportunity to make a play, at least on the top floor, was heavily limited with anything they could do, and for Wimpy and Kento, is basically a done deal at that point, except if the stars aligned.
Yeah, I don't know if they were just still setting up, or maybe they weren't, quite prepared for a rush like that up the main stairs. Because I guess you saw the smoke canister go off, but he had no one behind him to stop that push immediately after getting killed. So unfortunate, but hey, we go on to Dining Kitchen for our next site from Arial Rise. We'll see how they do this, if they're going to roam horizontally, vertically, or do both maybe. For the moment, it looks like they're setting up a horizontal roam into the living room. They go the hatches open so they can, maybe open that hatch and back off towards basement if they need to. But so far, yeah, nobody's really upstairs for the moment on the side of Arial Rise. Gomez seems to be going up there for the moment, but maybe it's not putting too much stock or too much utility up there.
Well, they know that 2FACED in all likelihood will go upstairs. Of course, we have Silent on that sledge, but vertical control and destruction is usually a facet of a kitchen dining attack that most teams like to go for. We have also seen our fair share of horizontal clears recently, especially throughout the qualifiers, so it might not be a guarantee that 2FACED goes upstairs, but Arial Rise are in all likelihood banking on them still trying to get, and maybe even getting, a couple C4 kills, because you still have that pulse, you still have those C4s, you don't necessarily need to put a lot of presence upstairs to still get those kills, but as we see, Benny, they are going for that horizontal clear that we've seen a little bit more of recently. That pulse can still provide intel, but you don't have that same C4 potential as you do if they had gone for the other take.
Oh, you said that, but it looks like maybe 2 teams at once. You see 2 people going upstairs and 2 downstairs. So, but you also see actually quite a bit of open holes and quite a bit of stock into this horizontal room from Arial Rise. You see a shield in that little hallway before China. Looks like they pinged out one player. That was Kento, that was DS, who returns back to Morio. He's going to run back, and they're knowing there's quite a bit of members on the 2FACED pushing forward. One Laundry, one a Bicycle. The one Laundry is dead. Actually, no, now he's dead. Basically, with 2 kills of his own, denying entire push on one side of the map. It's down to Kicks and Splash all of a sudden within the first, minute and a half. Beastly with other kills. He's got 3 kills for the round. He's looking for a 4K to kill Splash. Splash shoots on one. He sees one in the back, but it's Diaz to finish him off. And Arial Rise will fight back, will shoot back with a flawless round.
I don't really know what that call was. I'm going to be honest. Because initially I got the clear, okay, sending 2 men up top, 2 men on the bottom. Sure, it was a horizontal roam, but say the 2 people on the bottom meet some resistance and you drone out the top floor, those 2 players on the top floor have a lot of room to go. They can get that control. Of course, there's the pulse, but they can still at least clear it out and secure it. But then they make this call to flood into Memorial. You see the Zofia splash jump inside a bicycle, 2 players rotate into Memo, but they just rush directly into Arial Rise's setup. They hadn't cleared out the shield on Brown Stairs, looking into Library and by extension, the hallway outside of Memorial. They hadn't dealt with Beastly inside the site, relaying intel to the entire team. Hadn't dealt out with a player behind Tetris who can watch Bicycle and swing into Memorial and peek the players coming from bottom red. They just flooded directly into Arial Rise's setup. And if you win your gunfights, that can certainly work. But if you don't, you have no other options to rotate to. You've committed everything to basically just crashing against the wall of Arial Rise's defense, and that's not a strategy that works unless you win your fights.
Yeah, that was hey. They're really, I guess, again they got some good kills off of being aggressive and being, proactive. That for the round aviator games. It's not always gonna work though. You're not always gonna catch them off guard like that, especially if you don't really know what the setup is, and if they're set up for the horizontal take, and you walk right into it. Not quite the same.
We literally saw 3 people rotate down red into the defense.
Yeah,
they rotated away from the part where there was nothing.
Yeah, it would literally walk into what they're expecting. The holes made Memorial. You had the shield outside, right outside China, facing that way. Members playing by Laundry, a pulse scanner as well. Hey, we're back on Trophy Saturate though. Once again, this is a site where 2FACED, the only real control they had was Master Bedroom. They couldn't take control Astro. They had nobody on the Astro window. They couldn't take Astro stairs. Eddie going for a flank through Aviator Games or 90s side gets picked off as well. So we'll see this time what they do. But last time we had Eddie, he was playing the Buck, but now he's playing the Ying instead. Maybe to look at those Candels to push in his site and get that plant down, and hopefully no one can just kill the planter mid plant.
Yeah, I was actually gonna say, despite the maybe lackluster or little control that 2FACED had overall, they had Master Bedroom, which is probably the most important bit of control on this site. And they were able to move in and get the bomb down. It really was just failure to use the control that they had, use the angles they created, that ended up losing them that round. But they had done a fairly good job at minimizing presence elsewhere. Nobody was playing on that main wall. They effectively denied both the position and eventually opening it up, denying those electric claws. We are seeing Wimpy rotate back, going for the exact same strategy that he did previously, taking off the K-Charge, which I believe might have been applied to one of the Aviator Games walls, and now he can throw it on that main wall and continue electric claw trick those Hibanas as they're layered onto that wall. So while they are going for the same execute, and it almost worked out last time, nothing has really happened the first minute 30, and that inherently favors the defense, especially considering 2FACE's very minimalist attack.
Oh, the grenade doesn't actually destroy it. So great. Yeah, great electric claw trick from the side of Wimpy, though. And a great shot, too, on the kicks to top it off. There's the icing on the cake for him. Oh, my God. Now another grenade will pop off to destroy them. There's no ADS, I believe, on that side, so you should have no problem destroying the second or the first electric claw, which then Wimpy will probably put another one on there. Any pre-firing through the board windows. Gomez once again watching the Astro stairs, looking to destroy the shield over by Black Box and Astro. Gomez sees 1 kill, but he can't finish him off though. And so Silent will get the kill on Diaz, and he'll actually clear out Astro for the moment.
He will, but Gomez can still very effectively hold this position. Kento now rotating back up can also very effectively deny any entry into Brick alongside Wimpy. Beastly can be in a little bit of a tricky spot, especially if he peeks up his head, but the failure to open up that Master Bedroom wall, or at least as open as they wanted it to be, or entirely, should go their way, but instead, all the kills go towards the attack. Diffuser goes down, Wimpy finally gets one, not able to land poison on the rotate off. 2 players in 2FACED on low HP. Beastly capitalizes off that very fact, making it a 2v2. Eddie's rotated out, but unfortunately Poison just gets smoked off the face of the earth. Now Eddie's got to rotate back into the site. He has an angle on Wimpy, though. Fortunately, Beastly not in a position to play for the trade of the Cade. Lack of intel, not relaying and not knowing the Ying's position. Now Eddie can just go prone behind this table and wait for Beastly to make a move. He peeks up, but he's still playing as patiently as he can, standing up. Impact lands at his feet and actually downs him. But does Beastly know? He goes over to finish it. No, because he was uncertain. He still loses time to defuse. He's kicking himself for that one, I guarantee it. He just gave the round to 2FACED, but he didn't even know what happened.
Wow, what a round from Arial Rise. And 2FACED as well, though, actually. The fact that Arial Rise brought it back there, but still, 2FACED, again, not a lot of control, but this time they made it work, though. This time using those candelas, able to flash up players, able to push on the site, because Beastly was the member who was going to play that flank, play that position to try and stop the plant. You saw otherwise, I think it was DS playing the Melusi this time, tries to swing, but they had the necessary coverage. Splash was covering poison this time. Does kill. Does ODS, but then Beastly was trying to swing the position, but gets flashed by the Candelas, allowing the plant to go down. And from there, Arial Rise do get the retake. They able to get the kills they need to, but in the 1v2, in the first time, in the 1v2, it was Eddie who wasn't coming from Master. He wasn't coming from Astro. He was coming from 90 to Boar. So nobody knew where he was. So he walks in a trophy. And it's at that point, 1v2, you have no clue where he is. He just kills last plant from trophy, or the disable diffusing, or the DS and DS, or would be that time actually. And at that point, it's a 1v1, and Beastly has to somehow figure out how to kill him, but doesn't know where he is even.
2FACED, obviously, they had not read into Wimpy's strategy with those Cades, so they were very caught off guard by that. But they did a very good job of working with the very little that they had. Silent didn't push into Astro. He just held the angle, seeing if Gomez rotated up Astro stairs, which he eventually did. Able to get that kill. Of course, as you mentioned, the Candelas as well, opening things up, causing some chaos that allows Poison to get the bomb down. That was very well played by 2FACED, using the very little pieces they had to move and using every little bit for maximum effect. Very good work. Moving to Aviator Games, I also see rotation that I am a big fan of. We see Beastly go to the Tachanka, and what I'm hoping here, we see some holes opened up at bottom main that he can utilize to stop Splash from pushing up and taking down anybody playing on top main in the first 45 seconds.
Let's hope that happens again for Arial Rise. Hey, maybe they'll go off again, but looks like they are going for a Master push. Those two members from 2FACED are going for a push through Master. That's Silent and kicks on that side. Look to the rest of 2FACED, maybe just droning out below and see if they can clear that bottom floor in Library and push towards main stairs. As Wimpy's looking for the drones so you can shoot them down and see what's going on. Wimpy with the DMR in his hand. Looks like they know the drones. They know that two members, or at least members of 2FACED, are pushing towards side, so they're going to back off. Go back towards site. Make sure to see what's going on, but Splash is also on the Astral window, so they're doing full clear. I don't see anybody from 2FACED actually going towards main, so they were drawing that side out, but they're actually all going towards that Master side. They can open up in towards Statuary, but nobody's there. They've all backed off, so they just kind of wasted a couple X-Gyros to make sure that it's clear.
This is the nice thing. Obviously, if you're a smoke, maybe dealing with a push coming in from Trophy Statuary or from 90, especially since the changes, smoke canisters, if you want to deny a vault plant, can sometimes be a little bit finicky. But if you know those lineups with those Shumika grenades for Tachanka, can sometimes be even a little bit easier to deny that plant. And also, you can just rotate a shield, just like smoke could. So it's not going to trip up Arial Rise nearly as much. They can very easily rotate their utility. Wimpy being a little bit aggressive inside of 90, trying to get an early pick, also waste some time, get some drones as they come in as well, as there are still 8 for 2FACED right now, so plenty of intel at their disposal. Now that we pass a minute and a half remaining, Wimpy will start rotating back behind that shield, and so far, 2FACED have switched up their attack, but in terms of progress, they have not made much.
That actually might have been, if that was on the lip mode, that might have killed Splash, actually. Good lineup, but unfortunately doesn't get the kill here for DS on that C4 throw. Okay, setting up some air jabs to make sure nobody rotates later on. If they do go for that plant behind the vault door and they rotate through 90, Eddie's going to play there just to make sure he gets the flank on top of the air jab. And it looks like this, 2FACED have a 5v5 looking to make that execute happen onto the vault door. But again, going towards that study side, opening up that wall towards Aviator to get control of that vault door, stop the cross, stop them from swinging on vault door is going to be big there. But they also have to waste time here. They have to make sure they can either stop these Shumika grenades or just bait them all out.
No, unfortunately, he cannot. I thought Gomez might have been able to impact grenade there. There might have been a hole made in the bottom of the left panel of that wall, but unfortunately, does mean Poison opens up a very nice angle from the study balk into the site. But here's the Shimiki grenades I mentioned earlier. There might be some Candelas sent inside a vault, but really there's nobody playing there. The main force is inside a bar, and it's, well, working pretty well. They've lost some bodies, but Beastly can deny on the time. And as his teammates get the kills, Arial Arise come out with the man advantage into the end. One rotating up the main stairs to try and make things a little bit more even on the site, but no, in the end, still Arial Arise, as a very slow attack for 2FACED was met with a very stalwart defense from Arial.
Yeah, it took quite a while to take control of that master side, push through, take control of 90, create that execute in the first place. And again, it's a one-side execute. They need people to go towards that study side. And by the time they got the wall open to try and make the cross, they even had Eddie throw Candelos through the vault drone hole to try and stop anyone from vault from swing. You still had the Shimiki grenades just flying by and those dying in that last minute. He just shooting those Shimiki grenades, wasting all that time for them. At that point, you got to walk in. You got to walk through the fire and flames. And you saw members from 2FACE walk into Aviator through the fire, and they were just getting picked off again and again. Sure, they were getting some kills. They were making some damage as well onto Arial Rise's side, but Arial Rise were winning trades. They were doing the damage. They were stopping the plants. And once again, it comes down to time. That's the end of it.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
Final round of the half. Arial Arise will go back to Trophy and Statuary. I thought we might see them go back to Kitchen, but the strategy overall from Arial has worked very well so far on this site. Hopefully, we'll now see 2FACED fully realize how Wimpy is playing those Electric Claws, as 2 times now, and the second round being, even though they won the round, in terms of the hard breaching, it was definitely the worst of those 2 rounds. We saw Poison use, I believe, all of his X-Kairos might have ended up being burned by the Electric Claws, at least 2/3, and the remaining third, if that's the case, he didn't really have enough time to use to fully set up and execute. So the Electric Claw play from Arial Arise has been very good so far. If 2FACE don't have a counter for that, they'll find themselves in a similar situation, and they managed to make it work. But without those Candelas, and maybe, say, just even one body for Arial remains up as opposed to last time, the round is still going to be incredibly difficult to win if they can't figure out how to open up that bedroom wall.
Yeah, because the big thing last time was the fact that, well, Splash was covering well for the swing from the statue, but BC was blind, so he couldn't swing on bricks either. So that's kind of the big thing from last time. It allowed him to get the plant down. Well, maybe I say that maybe BC would have met his demise if he had fought one, a crossway against Splash. Hard to say. But maybe this time they can think they win that fight. But Gomez is actually playing here downstairs. We've seen 2FACE take control of this downstairs, take control of dining and kitchen side with no resistance on this site twice in a row. But this time, Gomez is by himself. I don't know if somebody from, Arial Rise is going to be behind him, helping him out. But he's looking to take a fight and try and make it difficult for 2FACE this time, despite this fact that, Arial Rise have let them do this in the previous rounds. I don't actually know if he's there, but Silent will take a Kento playing outside of China. Gomez is going to play off of it, get the kill, get a refrag. Great. He's going to back off and run away off that trade. Pre-fires back on Splash, but nobody takes any real damage. And he's going to go back towards Astro Stairs. But he's also down there too, playing that position. He's going to see if he can play those red stairs and see if anybody's aggressing towards them. But nobody is from 2FACE. They're going to make the way towards master bedroom. See if they can open this wall up.
I think that trade definitely favors Arial Arise coming out. You lose those set of nades, and normally that Electric Claw, we saw Splash open up the floor to use that Impact Lifeline to look on through. That go around losing those nades. Can't open things up nearly as better. Doesn't matter, though, because the Electric Claw is gone. Wimpy decided to rotate strategies. I believe he poured both on that wall to start out, but now we have these Impact Grenades as well. You see Beastly now rotating over to that main wall to open things up, and with no hole made below, no player playing below to deny that main wall, you waste some more X-Kairos, but this go-around, Poison can still open one up. You see the Twitch rotating over to make a solo play and study, but again, a lack of intel, just like we saw in the first round with Eddie, the very same player. He loses his life in the very same way. Poison sticks his face directly in the hard breach hole, but Wimpy's there to cut it clean off. Splash tries to thread the needle, but it's still Wimpy coming away the victor in all of these engagements. Kick's the only one left. He's got 1 kill for him so far, so he can be happy about that. Wimpy's still trying to find his 4th, and find it he will. As Arial Arise, they find their 4th as well, in a 4-2 half, taking the lead on Villa, on their opponent's map pick. It's all looking up for Wimpy and Arial at the side swap.
Maybe they should open the wall. They won the round when they didn't open the wall. And they lost the round both times when they opened the wall.
Poison should have just shot his utility straight up in spawn and gone for frags.
And again, like
that's
Eddie as
the
well.
analysis that we really need.
Last time Eddie played with them with the Candelas inside of Master, but both times they open the wall, Eddie just goes on a solo roam as an attacker.
I don't really.
And both times he's died to Wimpy.
Yeah, I think what we can definitely take away from that half is while Wimpy adjusted his own play that actually in the end actually better serviced Two-Face to opening up that wall, doesn't seem like they ever really droned out that side of the map, did they, Benny? Because every single time, all three trophy statuary defenses, that's where Wimpy was playing. And on the final round, Eddie's just like, yeah, I'll just crouch into study. I'm sure there's nobody playing over here.
And Whippy also slammed somebody on that door every single time they played that site.
Yeah. Good play from Wimpy. But now, moving to Two-Faced defense. See them go down to kitchen and dining, a site we only saw once from Arial Arise, but they're taking it a very similar way, aren't they, Benny? Or, well, at least for some of the operators.
In some of them, yeah. It depends. Are they going to set up that horizontal roam? They have utility to try and stop that horizontal push.
No shields, though.
No shields, though, yeah. No shields. They're reinforcing the memorial wall. They've also reinforced the tri-wall inside of Statuary, so they are looking to maybe roam upstairs and not play horizontally. I say that, though. There are members like towards that south side. I don't know, maybe for the moment at least. Well, we'll see, though. We'll see if they actually stick to the horizontal roam. Splash on the Vigil. He's going to be playing aggressively, looks like, running around on this top floor, roaming around, and we'll see if that Arial Rise can drone him out efficiently and see if he can deal with him early. So, yeah, it looks like, yeah, no, they're going to go in for horizontal. They're going to be looking for a vertical play rather than a horizontal roam compared to Arial Rise.
See Splash getting aggressive. Might have Eddie in a position to relay intel to either the Vigil or the Malusi in case anybody, say, starts pushing over towards 90. Allow Kix maybe get some intel, but right as I say that, Kix walks right in front of the window, and maybe the Pulse isn't exactly doing that, and Kix or Splash are more so on their own, ready to rotate back to the defenders playing inside of Trophy and Statuary at any given time, the moment they start feeling pressure, and they already have. Kix on low HP. Him and Splash have both rotated back. Here is Eddie. Relaying intel, finding a player on that 90 window. Right now, it's Wimpy on that sledge, who will rotate down, but continue staying on that rappel. Not too much Eddie can do here. He has a C4 if he wants to, even maybe go for a pre-place to blow it up. But yeah, you can see Wimpy is well aware of this trick, as it's a fairly common one. And Eddie is read like a book. He sat there the entire time, and as opposed to Two-Faced in their attacks, with Eddie as well, now Ariel actually used drones to find Eddie.
Yeah, they actually joined up pretty well there, and they just wall bang Wimpy elsewhere, take out Splash the Vigil, who's on the roam. So this roam seems to be all but dead for the moment, except for Silent. Silent was the Rooney up here. He's got that DMR in hand. He's looking to try and get at least one kill to even up a little bit. Dude, he's got no HP. He's got to run away. Kix has like 5 HP. He takes one bullet. He's gone. So he's probably gonna want to walk away.
Back.
Yeah, I would rotate back to site if I was you, Cakes. But hey, I don't know. Maybe he's trying to they got to make some kills though, because they're down 2 men, so they have to make some kind of play here. They can't just let Arial Rise create this execute. And yeah, that's dude. Kicks, he's in a great position.
Yeah, 1 HP, not rotating back. He is in a nice position, but Diaz is fully anticipating this, and he can very easily win that fight, even without a headshot. If Kix was just moving and shot too late, Diaz could very well put 1 bullet in Kix before Kix manages to take him down. I was going to say, the big thing going for Two-Faced was a pre-play C4 that Poison still had, but I believe it got blown up, and it didn't find anybody for Two-Faced. Arial Rise still at their full 5 manpower. Silent and Poison are divided in what areas they can cover. Silent as well. Former that I mentioned, having holes ripped open above him at every single moment. Poison, you need to win those fights, my man. Kento on to Silent is a little bit less egregious. Silent, the 1v5, had to react quickly. Poison, he was still going to die after that one, but it just was the nail on the head for was overall very lackluster round for Two-Faced, off and on the site.
Yeah, that roam got dismantled immediately by Arial Rise. Leaving Kix on 5 HP, Kix runs away. You hear the Vigil die as well later on. You see him quickly get picked off elsewhere. They pre-fire 80 on the pulse inside a bathroom. They definitely had intel on his position, and DS was able to get that kill. Kix goes for a flank mid-round on 5 HP, just kind of crouch walking towards DS's position. But obviously, you can tell they had intel because DS just turns around and waits for Kix to peek the door and just murders him. And that point, it's a 2v5. And you can tell no one at that point, Silent can get a kill. Nobody can get a kick at that point when you're 2v5 and you're on kitchen dining. So, well, Aviator Game is next for Two-Face, and they've got a trek of 3 rounds to make it back unless Arial Rise make match point.
They do have a lot of good tools at their disposal, though, with Flores off the board. Arial Rise didn't make much use of it, but we'll see Two-Faced bring the Goyo and 2 other separate deployable shields. So without that Flores and those Rotero drones on the board, all of those go up in their impact. You can cover main stairs. You can have a shield looking into 90 as well. Have a shield, either Goyo or normal, on the maps table to allow for some play behind there as well, depending on where the attack pushes. If it's from 90, play behind that maps table. If you still have, say, study control in your hands. You have a lot of potential to use these deployable shields with the Tachanka as well. You can watch main stairs with the mirror windows. You can watch study. You want to have some roamers and trophy statuary, put some pressure on that side, you can too. This is a very universal lineup for 2FACED right now. It's what we emphasized in the pre-show. That's their strengths. If there's any time for them to start bringing these rounds back, it's on this site with this setup.
Very true, but hey, this is gonna be interesting. So there's no buck on the board for Arial Rise, so they could try to grenade from below these positions that the mirror would be in, or they can try and take control of Classical, because Classical's that big one. If they can take control of main stairs and Classical, they can deny these mirrors entirely. Looks like BC's going to shoot some X-Kairos towards that wall. Splash should be able to destroy the Wimpy elsewhere. Takes out Eddie on the roam. Looks like he was by the board window, gets caught off by Wimpy on a rotate. That's an early pick, and they've already opened up this vault wall, so they can already deny that rotate between vault if they swing the vault door. But again, the big thing is the mirror windows, the C4s, the indirect denial when it comes to execute. But again, Arial Rise could just try and go for kills instead, and Eddie goes bro.
Kicks, unfortunately, here, especially down a man. You can still contest this main stairs with the shield gone as well. Maybe they'll likely be a little bit more reticent to peek that angle to get aggressive in that position. Just playing passively, wasting more time, as Arial Rise are in no position and no necessity to push just yet. They can have these players over inside a master bedroom, rotating over to 90, gaining control over there, as it's actually a full rotation. Thought there might still be a few people there, but they destroyed that shield and fully rotated over towards master bedroom to put pressure on Silent playing 90. And unfortunately for him, Kento has an angle on Silent that Silent just does not have on his opponent and his attacker. Kento can now, once the Silent has vacated the area, take that 90 control. Gomez, I almost call him Selena Gomez. Gomez has control down below. This is looking like a very good attack for Arial. They have a lot of their bases covered. If they can get study as well, it's going to be difficult to lose this for the attack.
Honestly, if they can push Classical hallway here and take full control of this hallway, and then deny those mirrors from behind, it could be huge here, and them getting that plant down. But it looks like Kento's going to be watching it for now, see if he rotates for the moment. Silence in a position. He's going to open up one of those mirror windows, but he's still got a mirror window to use here. Grenade from below hits Splash inside of Vault. He doesn't actually take any damage, but he is aware somebody's below. He sees the head, but the grenade kills him in return. That's a trade for Wimpy and Splash. A grenade for a shot. Silence waiting for someone to peek through. Gomez will be the one to peek. He's taking some shots, and those ones peeking through those vault holes. Poison's going to peek through, do some heavy damage with that LMG onto Kento. And now at this point, there is a bit of a defense here still for 2FACED with the smoke now, and he's gonna go for a plant in a position you wouldn't expect behind the bomb chassis, not behind the vault door, but he actually reads it perfectly. Gomez has to get off the plant. Poison goes off. BC kills Poison though instead. So there goes one of the players nearby. Kicks is gonna have to swing onto the study balcony, and perfectly. No, he had a chance to swing that. Is now all on Silence in a 1v4. He takes two. Down goes both. Only 10 seconds. Can he stay alive? He downs another 1v1 onto Kento, and he wins it.
Well, that shouldn't have happened. The big thing for 2FACED in that round was the one saving grace that they had. Arial Rise had their study angle. They had Beastly on the rappel. They had players pushing in to get a plant either behind Vault or behind the game's bomb chassis. But they still had 2FACED, had plenty of Shumiki grenades and smoke canisters to deny the plant. So, as opposed to say they only had one where they might have to allocate their resources accordingly, you can have one player Shumika behind Vault and the other throw toxic canisters behind the bomb chassis just to close off all your options. They're behind maps table as well. You can fire some grenades over there. All of that denial that 2FACED had, they could deny every conceivable plant spot from a push in from that angle. Of course, it still doesn't end up working out. They push Gomez off the plant, which buys them a lot of time. But Beastly's able to get kicks, and I believe it might have been Splash as well. I can't remember exactly, but I believe it was Splash. Both who were peeking him on the balcony. But then at that point, Arial Rise instead opt to try and go for the kills, and Silent just makes magic happen inside a vault. And there's not much else to say about that. In a 1v4, in most situations, the attack should win that. But maybe the smoke grenades denied some angles. Maybe some timing went in his favor that we didn't see. Whatever happened.
Was a big one there, really.
That's true.
The fact that both Beastly and Gomez lined up at that moment puts in a 1v2, and both players left are one player's coming from Classical behind the synchronization of DS, who's already inside of Aviator, gives him two 1v1s at the end there. So I will say Magic. Yeah, I agree with Magic was really that.
Now a rotation onto trophy and statuaries. He poison, moved to the clash. Like the back when I casted amateur a bit more frequently, I always associated JJ. The out of all the T3 IGLs, he was the one that I normally associated clash with. But poison certainly in
Where's
his
the roaming
wheelhouse.
smoke?
In his wheelhouse, we have not seen a roaming smoke so far. It might be a bit of an old meme at this point, but I've not seen it. Very disappointed. Only one round in though, and it was actually silent on the smoke last time. So
Hmm.
a bit of
Maybe
a
we'll see.
difference.
Maybe, depending on what we got. Hey, we're on trophy statuary though. We're gonna see how Arial Rise does attack as looking to just clear again. They're clearing below. They're taking control of this dining kitchen area like we saw from 2FACE. 2FACE isn't gonna be contesting it whatsoever though, and now we're gonna see if they can destroy these shields and destroy these, from below, destroy these utility on the side of 2FACE. Grenade comes out looking to destroy one of those shields. Let's see, he'll make a hole. No, actually kill anybody. I don't know if he destroyed a shield either actually with that, but so far 2FACE is kind of chilling.
Not under much pressure yet, but that could change very soon. One important note: bedroom wall is not electrified right now. However,
He's gonna trick it.
Splash is doing a very similar play to what Wimpy was doing, going for that electric claw trick. So you can see him put one directly on there, and unfortunately for Arial Rise, not much they can do to really stop it based off Wimpy's position. He could get the electric claw off, could even damage Splash, but he's still got one in his pocket. He can put it there. Now Wimpy, well, he's got one nade left, but he's already rotating to a different position. And the moment they realize, actually, did the wall get opened anyway?
Yep, I think they did. I think that he destroyed the rest of electric claws with that grenade actually. So, yep.
Wow. Okay. I thought
I don't know
Splash
if he put the other one somewhere else or where it went to. But...
I thought Splash put it on the wall.
Oh, he
Alright,
put it
well,
on the other
never
wall.
mind. Oh, okay. Okay, never mind then.
Hey, they looks like they're taking Astro control though. They got the Kerosene Astro. They're gonna push an Astro, take this control, and see if they can deal with it. But they full reinforce and full electrify the wall in a trophy though. So now they kind of have to either go for a statuary push with still a shield here, Splash with a great kill on a Beastly as well, and this is kind of that Astro control isn't nearly as strong. But a great kill on a Gomez too.
It is a nice kill on to Gomez, but the problem is Arial Rise still have that very good bedroom angle that can watch the rotate in from either Statue or Astro, but Kix has been able to get the kills so far behind this shield. Silent playing around poison on that shield is doing very well for himself so far too. DS Lucas, not many avenues left inside of the site. He's got a shield staring him directly in the face, a Jaeger close by, and an alibi behind him. Can't really do anything at all. He's going to get peeked from somewhere, and he just has to decide where and how he wants to die. Will say I was a little bit confused. I was like, why not Electroclaw? That master bedroom wall. But Arial Rise pushed directly into Astronomy. They can't open that wall anymore. Gives a very safe place for the Clash to sit behind and anybody playing around her.
2 Electroclaw or not 2 Electroclaw?
Was the question, and well, they were like, well, we'll tell you.
That was an interesting play though, because they full reinforced between Astro and Trophy. I guess they reinforced it after seeing their Astro player die, and then kind of using that clash to bar both shots and entry into Trophy, forcing them to go for Statuary. That's where you saw Kix with the shield playing it as the alibi, and then they still have the the far off shots. They still can deny from Trophy, back if they go towards red, or if they go for just shots across the way towards bricks. So all in all, pretty good strat from 2FACED actually, and I'm really first time I ever saw that actually. I've never seen a strat like that.
I not either. But you know what strat I have seen before?
Hmm.
This.
It doesn't look much different actually, yeah.
Saw it 2 rounds ago. Well, technically 3 rounds ago at this point.
Technically, yeah.
Depends on how you view it, I suppose. 3 rounds ago, saw this exact same setup from 2FACED. We saw a roam, specifically Splash and Kix, rotated over and placed over towards Aviator Games, Eddie down below in living room and library, feeding intel on any attackers, either pushing them or pushing in through 90. But Eddie overstayed his welcome long after Splash and Kix left, and unfortunately found himself the early recipient of a wall bang from DS Lucas. This time he's sitting inside the site, not getting nearly as aggressive, and instead, Splash, Kix, and now Silent, who was before inside a Trophy and Statuary, are all 3 located inside of Aviator Games to get any bit of early intel denial, hurt Arial Rise's drone economy, or maybe even a pick if anybody on the attack is a little bit reckless.
Also, yeah, there's 3 of them up here. Oh my god. Yeah, 3 members of the defense. I'm 2FACED just waiting for a fight here by Aviator Games. Wimpy once again will open up that 90 window. He did heavy damage to Kix last time. Was window he's gonna back off. He's going to push back towards Vault, and really, at this point, are they going to overstay their welcome? Silent getting aggressive, looking to take someone to fight on someone on study balcony, but nobody's there for the moment. One pushing up the main stairs. The Finka of Kenta with the spear. There's debate on a second there, but he's actually going to pull back down. Wimpy will, confirm there is presence in Aviator Games. He's going to pre-fire through, do heavy damage to Splash, pre-firing into Games. Kicks his push back towards that Astro side, and so far, Splash and Silent are still overstaying. They're waiting for a chance.
Yeah, before they were not only pushed back, but then subsequently dispatched fairly quickly by the attack. This go-around, Splash, who is now alone, but quickly rotating back. And never mind, Silent is still just sitting inside a study, because, well, why not? Now they can have a lot more impact. Not only if there's any holes made upstairs, they can watch those as Arial Arise. Still have half the round remaining, but are looking to give up that top floor clear for the moment. Instead, rotate down. But DS Lucas, who's still watching the flank, as he always does, catches Silent on, well, a rotate back. Finds him as he was sitting alone inside of study. Now this gives an opportunity for Splash, maybe in the chaos, and as Arial Arise are rotating their attack, to slowly move down red, get a nice pick. Only 2 drones left for Arial Arise, so actually if he takes down that one drone, that's the remaining drone economy for Arial, cut in by 50%. Instead, opens up the bicycle wall instead to begin to move in. 2 players inside that window, does not matter. It's not open, Splash can move in there effectively, but has to be careful about anybody that could potentially open that up, because he could find himself in a nasty crossfire if they start pushing that door and the bicycle window as well. You'll likely have to win a fight. Right now, it's instead over towards living room and library, brown stairs, and laundry, and none of it is particularly working for Arial. Might be an even 3v3 with Kicks and Splash both on low HP. The Kento has to push in directly without much intel for Arial, but thankfully Wimpy has his back. Takes down Kicks, a C4 flies over, but it doesn't do any semblance of damage. Now it's Arial, who not only have the man advantage, but with the smoke grenades as well, they have these advantageous angles, denying sightlines to Splash. He rotates in, downs the sledge. Wimpy put on the floor. DS Lucas able to get the bomb down successfully. They can start rotating back. Splash does down Kento. I didn't even realize. I thought he had more health than that. It's DS Lucas stuck in the 1v1, but he's on full HP, and Splash is more worse for wear. DS Lucas pulls back. The Finka gets back up, but it can still be easily dispatched by the Vigil. And he has to bait. He has to try and get DS Lucas to take a gunfight, commit to it, and then Splash can take it down. But no, he's sticking. DS Lucas has to shoot, and Splash tries to stick, knows that pros don't fake, but he stays on a little bit too long and gives DS Lucas enough time to find an angle, win the fight, and put Arial on match point.
Oh, that was so possible for Splash, though. Wow. He turned that around, but that was definitely a messy round, though, for Arial Rise. They didn't quite go for, they didn't clear out vertically this time. They didn't try to clear the roam. Having seen there were 3 roamers on the side of, 2FACED upstairs, they transitioned to a horizontal take instead, knowing that there was a lot of stock on that top floor. Diaz gets the first pick. He denies a flank 1 player. Though, but later on in that push, though, you see players from 2FACED, because they hadn't cleared that vertical roam, they were able to flank later on. Case getting a kill on brown stairs. Members getting kills elsewhere. They push in. That you saw earlier that I think it was Wimpy or I think it was Beastly or Gomez pushing for it. They didn't get those kills they needed to. They didn't get that pick they need to on pushing in. Kind of, but in the end, it allows for Arial Rise to still gain that control pantry, get into the site, but in that point, get the plant down. Splash kills the sled. In that instance, he could have actually maybe denied the plant, but he sees the person behind that was Kento behind the bomb chassis, does down them, but in that instance, allows for DS to get the plant down, back off, and make it a 1v1 post plan. In that situation, it's difficult for the defender. You gotta somehow try and bait out the attacker and get that pick, and he almost does. He does bait out DS, but a little bit too long. Tries to get off the plant. Unfortunately, can't get off fast enough. He gets shot in the back.
2FACED again, repeating strategies, and it's not a bad one in theory. It gives them a lot of utility, gives them a lot of options, but overall, throughout the course of the round, Arial Arise able to put some early pressure on main stairs, do a little bit of damage to utility for 2FACED, and then rotate over to master bedroom, and again, effectively push the defense back, do a lot of harm to their utility, open up angles inside of the site, and start to move in for a plant. But they didn't really manage to take down much of not only some of the important players for 2FACED, but also do some damage to the important utility. 2FACED did a very good job of not getting trigger happy with their Shamika grenades or throwing too many of their smoke canisters, keeping most of them for the plant that ended up, even though it came down to 1v4, allowing that 1v4 to even happen in the first place. Here, maybe denying Arial's entry a little bit more aggressively into Trophy Statuary. We saw Silent play a little bit inside of 90. Now Splash playing a little bit more aggressively in that position might be the key. Or Kicks maybe getting a little bit more aggressive on main stairs in tandem with somebody, say, playing behind bar, as I don't believe there's anybody playing there now, and there's no holes made either. That could be the key to the game. But as of right now, what's stopping Arial from well, getting the exact same early control and early utility damage they did last time. Not much.
Yeah, that's the point. Only thing really is that those should be grenades that deny the main stairs, and well, this time at least Arial Rise isn't making it a north or south to north take. This time they're going for that main stairs take instead. Silent taking heavy damage from the balcony. He'll shoot shot backs, but Gomez has won his fight there, or at least done the most damage in that regard. So that now grenades from below. Wimpy will start to throw grenades, try and deal with these players on main stairs. Grenade comes out, Kicks will deny at least dodge that grenade, make his way back towards Classical and stay alive. So at this point now, Arial Rise can take the main stairs control, and on the back, there's actually two members flanking. He takes one. Kento gets one kill, looking for the second onto Eddie. He will take that one too.
So far, 2FACED idea of trying to bring these rounds back have been flanks, and Arial Rise have done such an effortless job of dealing with them, shutting them down, and forcing the players on site to make the big plays. Poison Kicks, the only two left. They do have holes behind Long Bar, but at this point, Arial Rise are long up main stairs and inside of Study, and Mr. P, the only one left, will just die and give Arial their third flawless round out of 11 rounds in this game. Moving on to their map pick 7-4, Arial Rise will surely be feeling pretty nice.
We'll see how much of effect she has on this
that's what I was thinking.
game. And well, so far we're going to the Church and Arsenal for our first defense, and it's actually a 6 pick from Valkyrie to an Oryx out of all things on a basement defense. Well, you can tell from the operator lineup, it's going to be a roam, obviously.
It's funny, both the operators I mentioned on both the attack and the defense were more so used as tools just to try to maybe scare the opposing side into anticipating something. You see DS Lucas bring out the Valkyrie, bait it out, and instead rotate to an Oryx. Just want, fast operator with a good gun. Try and play for some frags somewhere upstairs, as it is an extended roam with the Mute and the Mozzie. So just having an operator who can get away quickly and also take fights if they need to is certainly not a bad pick, the Oryx is. And on the opposite side for the attack, with Cade on the board, if you're anticipating extended roam, which likely based on the lineup, 2FACED realize it is, without a Cade, there's not going to be that much hard destruction or hard breach denial you need to bypass. Maybe a Mute, but that's even then likely going to be used for drone denial. You can open up those hatches pretty easily once you clear out upstairs. Thatcher, based on this site, with this setup, not actually all that necessary.
Yeah, I think the only place you really could use Thatcher really well here would be either on the tri-wall, if there is anything like a bandit, or it would be on blue. See if you would deny ADSs to get someone killed, but you can tell from the lineup, there's not going to be that kind of play, though. So yeah, like you said, not really a reason to bring a Thatcher for this site, but hey, we'll see how they do here. If they're going to see how they clear this roam, because you see Gomez, Wimpy, Kento. Really, I think everyone's roaming on the side of the roam. Maybe not Beastly. Beastly maybe the only one on site. But it looks like there's quite a few roamers here for 2FACED to deal with, and they're going to see if they can drone them out despite the Mozzie, the Mute, and the Vigil on the board, and if they can still do so. Wimpy, we'll see a couple drones, took a drone down, he'll back off towards CCTV. These walls are reinforced, though, and they have mute jammers, so they have to heal those mute jammers first if they want to open up the CCTV wall, or that jacuzzi wall. Maybe that's muted too, actually. Yeah, it probably is.
This is the one problematic thing right now. Normally, some of the more common entry points for clearing out that roam are shut off, as you pointed out, with the mute jammers and the reinforcements, so they wanted to go for any cutoffs, they'd have to go at windows, and right now Wimpy is already rotating back. Kento in a bit of a tricky position, as 2FACED have opted not to put pressure on Wimpy or Gomez, but instead quickly coalesce around Bar from all sides. We do have one player on that flat balcony, but everyone else is on this first floor looking to try and see if they can
Wimpy.
pressure Kento, but Wimpy still inside of CCTV, rotates back down. The moment... Never mind. Rotates back up instead just to play on those red stairs. Kento also has Gomez up above on the hatch. I believe DS Lucas inside of kitchen as well, so he's not fully alone. But a minute 30 right now, and Benny, not much has happened. 2FACED have just sort of rotated to the first floor, and then that's it.
Yeah, like I was expecting an engagement because I saw Kento jump
Yeah, me
off red
too.
stairs, and I thought someone was in lounge or pit, but nobody's
There
there. And he's not. It just somebody. Wimpy just backs off, and he's just still playing red. Gomez has a great angle from the hatch, but won't find a kill. He'll do a lot of damage to poison with an MP5. It is a low damage weapon, unfortunately. But Wimpy has a position to try and flank one of these members on secret stairs. DS gets killed on Eddie, and there it is. Someone on secret stairs. Poison making his push elsewhere. Down goes the person in blue, so the blue push goes out the window. Gomez is trying to push into kitchen, and Silent elsewhere. Silent's pushing for dirt, gets 2 picks of his own, and it kind of opens up for his team in a sense. Now that blue take is actually in their favor too.
Oh, yeah. Doesn't stand a chance there. Yeah, unfortunately, the timing not going his way, but here's the important thing. Kitchen hatch opened up, allowing Gomez to rotate back. He can now use it as an angle watching inside of the site. Sees both players line up directly in front of him. One with the diffuser dropped on the floor. If Splash wants to get the bomb, he's got to go recover it. He will manage to do it successfully, but it's at the cost of a blood sacrifice, or a blood cost, however you want to phrase it. He's on 1 HP. Took a lot of his life force to pick up that diffuser. Now, Gomez is the angle. He can drop down, force Splash off, play the waiting game, make Splash scared to get that bomb down. He'll slowly creep up with the markers going towards him. That's a 1v3 from Gomez to start out round number 1. Map number 2 for Arial Arise. But it was mostly built on the back of Arial, or 2FACED, basing their entire execute and flood off of getting kills on the site and not clearing out anything else.
Yeah, I would say they tried to, try to circumvent the roam. You saw them really push it horizontal, take control of the first floor, then go for dirt, go for blue, go for different angles, and most of them didn't work except for that dirt push, which that dirt push allowed for that push through blue to work later on. And they had some control, but you're in it was a 1v3 like we said there. It was just Gomez on the hatch and kitchen. It looks like they knew he was there too, because you saw when those players got into Arsenal, they pre-fired the hatch, either knowing he was there or expecting him there. And from that point of surprise, they took that fight rather than maybe trying to walk off towards, or at least run off towards kitchen. Hard to say. It's definitely a difficult situation when you're trying to just, bypass the road, push on site, and you don't know where the last defender is at.
With a rotation up to CCTV, we will see that Bandit. Not only because, of course, if you want to have a Thatcher on the board, Bandit's a little bit easier to deny. Also, if you want to have some more hard breach denial instead of a mute, Bandit's your only other option with Cade Band. Of course, 2FACED aren't bringing the Thatcher, but why would Arial bring it? Well, Wimpy is simply the GOAT on Bandit. If you did not watch his mind-blowingly awesome playoffs performance on Bandit, where I believe he had a 4K just running around the server sack inside of CCTV, it's an operator that Wimpy very much enjoys and feels comfortable playing on CCTV and Cash, and one with a Thatcher ban, or with Thatcher up, very good playing. 2FACED not bringing that. They do have a Capitao instead, and that lends itself very well to clearing out anybody, mainly in this case, Beastly and DS Lucas, playing in Garage.
I was say this is just like the old days where you open up the pilot garage and you just shoot the fire bolt over towards that wall to stop the band tricking, when band tricking was more,
nostalgia.
A thing.
I miss it.
Yeah, that's a while ago. It's not really a thing anymore. Band tricking doesn't happen quite as often, but they'll open up, use one exothermic charge on the garage wall to start us off. But I'm not sure if they're really even thinking that there's a band tricking happening, as you still have kicks go below, destroy from below, destroy that floor below Wimpy to stop him. Wimpy's actually no, from the window, he's actually going to get killed by Eddie as he tries to, worm his way underneath it. And so far, the wall will go open, and Wimpy on the Bandit isn't quite a thing this round, unfortunately.
No, not really. He got some on the floor, but because he was going for something a bit more active, Eddie just rotates to the window, catches him off right as he's moving. Not much he can do at that point. Now Beastly, and to a lesser extent DS Lucas, but mainly Beastly, facing a lot of pressure. They have to deal with that plow wall angle that can now cut off part of their rotation in Garage. Bottom floor opened up as well. Part of that garage wall even soft. DS Lucas can have an angle looking through that if he wants to peek up and help help Beastly a little bit if he gets pressure from those garage doors. But beyond that, especially now where 2FACED have opened up so many of these angles and Arial Arise are rotating directly into them, the only real presence they have is this garage control, and DS Lucas and Beastly aren't in much of a position to rotate back. Gomez even tries to make a play, brazenly swings the plat wall, and now Beastly's the only one left outside of the site in a 1v5. And he just crosses the window, and Beastly can't even react in time. I mean, that was not necessarily anything spectacular from 2FACED. They just opened up very common angles, and Arial walked directly into them.
Yeah, it was kind of like a very, I'm not say basic, but almost like what you expect on Clubhouse, what we've seen before. Just, you firebolt the position so you don't get banner tricked. You open the wall up, but then there's positions like we saw from Wimpy. Wimpy getting aggressive in a sense, just lying down by the window, gets caught off by Eddie. And then you saw too, like you said before, getting caught off and rotates. Kento running downstairs, gets caught off. A grenade onto Diaz, who's playing rafters. Unfortunately, you only have the Momai, didn't have the Jaeger there really, so only so many discs you can stop a grenade there. And from that point on, it was just players getting picked off one by one, leaving one player alive in a 1v5, a flawless round from the side of 2FACED to answer back and to make sure that they're not down and out. They're still here. They're still ready to win this map and go next one.
On CCTV as well, one of those primary sites, good win to pick up. Of course, attacking on club is not nearly as bad as it used to be, so
I'll say playing
solid.
rafters these days is
yeah. Playing rafters these days can be a bit problematic. Of course, you have the ADSs and the magnets, but you have a situation like that where a flat wall's opened up and you're not really able to rotate very well. You can have all the projectile denial you want, but if you're basically stuck in a box, nade's going to land at your feet eventually, one way or another. The enemy team is good enough. Right now, of course, it appears the site is gym and bedroom. I see all 5 are locked in. Could change if they have time. I don't think they do, though. So that is the site we'll see. We'll see all 3 sites in the first 3 rounds. And so far for Arial Arise, they have 1 round on the board, but it did take a 1v3, and the second round was flawless for 2FACED. About as
So this is
convincing
an
as
early
you can get.
timeout.
It is an early timeout. I believe there might be something up with one of the
Was
players.
that tech timeout? Or was
no,
that
I think that was a tactical timeout. Never mind.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if that was a tech timeout or a tactical timeout.
For
but-
context, Kix had not picked an operator yet, so I wasn't sure if he like disconnected or something. But nope,
Yeah.
he's here. It was a tactical timeout.
All right, well, they took an early timeout and they're ready to keep that momentum going here for 2FACED so they can just keep winning rounds. Well, we'll go on to Gym and Bedroom next for Arial Rise. Valkyrie finally being brought. We haven't seen Valkyrie, despite being unbanned, we haven't seen it just yet from Arial Rise. Only been 2 rounds. But we'll see how much it affects this round, because intel, we've seen in other games, having that intel, having those cams in your pockets, allowing for your team can play off very aggressively off them, can get some crazy kills and do some heavy damage to the attack early on. We'll see what happens next.
See the Valkyrie on the board. Those black eyes. Gonna allow anybody playing, if they want to, extended CCTV or cache, but even if you just extend into construction, be a lot easier and a lot better knowing you have some intel to potentially gain if anybody pushes in. Right now, do see some reinforcements dedicated to cache, so it won't be a con extension. Also, well, there's no deployable shield for the defense, so can't really do a con extension without a shield. You have to do CCTV and cache. Those bandit batteries as well. Didn't actually expect BC to put those on the cache wall. Normally you see those dedicated to the jacuzzi wall, or
Oh, he's got
maybe
one of the
even-
single con wall too as well.
Yeah, and maybe even on a single panel, but that does mean that the jacuzzi wall is fully able to be opened up by next
Unless
thermite
he's
charge.
ban tricking.
I mean, he could be bandit tricking, that is true, but kind of like the CCTV, you can just deny that from gym windows since there's no castle on the board.
There is the runic gate, so at least you can stop a projectile. One.
Yeah, but you can just shoot him.
True, that is why I can just shoot him.
If you have CCTV and nobody can peek the CC window, you can just shoot the bandit.
Well, Beastly's trying his best to stay in the hallway. Will he do a job different? They're actually going to have a Thatcher available so they can actually deal with these bandit batteries, open up the single con wall. Gomez blows up next to him. He's going to walk by and enter into cache. And so far, they're looking to take full control of this master balcony, especially because CC's cleared. There's someone on the plat wall, or on plat, so they can deny anybody from watching it or anybody from playing that window. So now they just go jacuzzi. They can also, Thatcher this, EMP it, and they get this wall open. And that's 2 sides now. And that's a play now. Question mark, will 2FACED actually try to clear out cache, or are they just going to try and go from these windows and push on in and get those kills?
Still a minute 40 in the round. I think the best bet is just holding CCTV right now. And,
yeah, like you said.
Exactly. There you go. You just hold CCTV, make sure nobody can peek that window. Once Poison goes for the exothermic, just watch the window and take the bandit down if he tries to go for the trick. Kento will run out of the garage, or run out of garage, find a kill onto Kix, but Gomez walks again directly into an angle held by 2FACED, loses his life. DS Lucas and Kento the only ones left, and they're stuck inside a cache right now in a position where they have to play for the retake, but they catch Eddie off guard. On the metal balcony, nobody watching that CC window anymore. There's still plenty that 2FACED can do to win this round. A minute left. Poison in a very nice position to get the bomb down. Even watch one of the crosses rotating back into the site. But Silent, his coverage, failed. Taken down off the board. But both members of Arial are on low HP, and Poison has time to play with, talk over with his team, and figure out the best course of action. In all likelihood, going for the plant will be difficult. Not only can Arial Arise play for the trade, DS Lucas has an impact nade on the board as well, so he can toss something from afar, maybe scare Poison off the plant if he wants to. He'll rotate in a bedroom, and this is good rotation. Get the plant behind the mattress, something that cannot be wall-banged. Doesn't give itself to it as easy as an angle. Gets the bomb successfully, but now he's got to peek up. Where are they pushing him? Response 1 and a second! A massive flick! Poison, how do you do that? Has to instantly react. No intel for him. Manages to pick up 2, and the second round for 2FACED.
Oh, 2 in a row for 2FACED. What a clutch there from Mr. P himself. But really, that round, yeah, that was a lot of control from 2FACED. Like we were talking about, like Blinks was talking about earlier, was just you have control of plat. You can deny peeking that CC window. You have control of the balcony. You can deny a BC from bandit tricking. Get that jacuzzi wall open. And time again, because of all that control, it forces Arial Rise to peak angles. They have to get aggressive. They have to stop this control from being taken by 2FACED, and time again they were losing most of those fights up until the end. Though in the end there, we see the 2 members from Arial Rise bring it back, put it in a 2v1, but both players are low, and the last player in 2FACED knows where their location is, He has time to talk about with his team, get that plant down. And unfortunately, while getting the plant down, nobody from Arial Rise moved into a better position to try and, maybe pinch that player, because they didn't know where he was planting. They just know he's planting somewhere inside of bedroom or gym. So they go on, they push from gold. They both push from logic into bedroom. And Mr. P, Poison himself, deals with both of them with a great flick.
It's not even like Arial Rise didn't react. They started shooting him. They just Jaeger just missed.
Well, you're like feeling what? He had 5 HP. A bullet was gonna kill him.
Yeah. That's the big thing. Both on low HP. He has time to react, or time to make a play, and maybe even some mitigation for that. Overall, good clutch by Poison. Good work. Taking the lead. Arial Rise get to go to basement. The only site they've won so far was on the back of a 1v3. Not necessarily a change in philosophy. It's actually still basically, I believe, almost entirely the same operators, except DS Lucas rotates from an Oryx to a Thunderbird, so you can still go for exactly what you did previously, but they won't. Kento, DS Lucas, I believe, both downstairs inside of basement instead of the first floor. I can't quite tell. No, they're on the first floor, or at least DS Lucas is instead, or sorry, Kento is. DS Lucas staying downstairs to go for the impact trick, which he certainly can do. Exothermic and Selma charges, if he can land those right. You can expend some utility by rotating from the first floor down to the site this round.
Yeah, last night Wimpy was able to stay alive for quite a while and get a flank off, though he was promptly dispatched after that, but he still was able to get that flank off and do damage to the attack. And last time they really tried to clear him. There was no real push on this top floor. Members of 2FACED just went for horizontal tank, tried to bypass, and there's a head right there. He sees Jackal pushing through. It's splashed. C4 goes out onto the balcony, finds nobody, but through the wall, damage done. He gets finished off by kicks on the window, backing off, and that's what happens when you're in a solo roam, getting pinched out by many of the attackers on 2FACED.
It's very difficult for him to work, especially because of the holes made in the soft wall. He tried to rotate out into bedroom. He was still giving himself up to an angle from CCTV. There's always the window player to worry about. Difficult proposition for Wimpy. He tried to take the fight, go 1-for-1 after he expended his C4. Not much he can do, but this has given an opportunity for Kento to continue playing in bar, but Gomez to even rotate up and help support the vigil inside of bar, because sure, they cleared out Wimpy, but half the round has gone, and 2FACED are in a similarly problematic position as they were the first round, where in terms of the actual important things, opening up those hatches, getting vertical destruction on the first floor, looking down in the basement, not a lot of time to do it, and none of the job has been done yet. Splash has also used all of his Inox, so these pings will be the very last ones. Beyond that, they have to rely on their drones to find the intel on any player sitting inside the site based on and using what little time they have left.
It's a good minute, so they got quite a few drones too. They got at least 5 drones. They have half their drones left, so they got time to figure things out. But slowly but surely, Arial backed off. They're not really trying to go for those kills compared to, the first round where they played this site. So they're all just waiting for what 2FACED is going to do here. Are they going to go for that dirt blue tech like they did last time? Looks like they're going to open up these hatches, though. So Poise is going to use one of those extra charges. Actually, both so far, so use it elsewhere as well. I don't know who use the other one at. But Silent will use his on church wall, his Selmas, to open it up. Push his way through, but it looks like at least Kento playing behind the bar. They'll need to figure that out before pushing in. They don't want to walk into a sight line like that. And Kicks is pushing blue to make sure nobody can shoot them in that moto push later on. Gomez, nobody's playing blue for the moment. Gomez is trying to deny the blue push. He gets a great kill on the Kicks. Poison, though, has made his way into the church. Has it got killed Kento, killed the person who was trying to cover for it. For the moment, Silent elsewise covering for him, kills Beastly with 2 of his own, actually, denying the push, trying to deny the people flanking, trying to stop the plan from going down, leaving Gomez in 1v4.
Maybe not intel in his position, but certainly an idea. Gomez will land a very nice pre-fire on a player. He actually had intel on earlier in a second as well. Could catch the Jackal reloading. That's exactly what he'll do. 2 kills away from the ace. 2 kills away from evening up the score. 2-2 in a 1v5 clutch. Surely it's not going to happen. We've already had 3 clutches so far, and no, Poison shuts it down. That would have been a little too much for my heart today, I'm not going to lie, if we had another clutch, an ace at that, after another one from Poison. Mr. P thankfully shuts it down and gets his team an even bigger lead.
Hey, that was scary there. That was just one after another from Gomez. But again, it seems like 2FACED are doing a much better this time, dealing with the aggression, dealing with the roam from Arial Rise. They get that pick on Wimpy. They gain control they need. They take time to figure what their plan is out, what their plan is, and they slowly but surely have someone go blow blue. They have to open up that church wall. They have people watching main hall, and they deny any kind of aggression from Arial Rise thus forth. You saw Silent dealing with anybody trying to rotate towards church. You saw the blue take as well, trying to take control of blue, which they did end up in the end. It was a good pick from the side of Gomez to start us off. He got that pick onto the Zofia of Kicks to stop it initially. But still, the fact that everyone else was dead allowed that blue pick to happen anyway. And then it was just Gomez making his best attempt to ace and give them round to Arial Rise, which he almost did. Almost.
Very narrowly. Everyone from 2FACED just kind of sat there and took it. Then Poison did. He moved and gave it in response. CCTV now rotating back for Arial Arise. We got the Valkyrie Bandit combo, but neither really been too much of, or not really very impactful so far in this match. Wimpy, especially on CCTV, very quickly dealt with, and his presence on the main wall was barely even felt by the attack, by the defense, or overall in the round whatsoever. By the end, it was just the garage players left. Normally, what can sometimes be the most difficult to clear now, in effect, were the big weak point for Arial, because once you're the only two players left, you're stuck in garage. There's not much you can do to influence the round unless they just push directly into you. Here, looking pretty similar so far. We see Kento is currently sitting there. Beastly will likely take up that position, but instead, DS Lucas on the Valkyrie won't be sitting prone below that garage window like we saw last time. He can get a little bit more crazy, move down red, move into garage if he wants, but most importantly, play out that intel, which could be the big strength for Arial Arise and the big adaptation for this defense.
Now, once again, that fireball flies off, allowing from the open as well easily. Wimpy can't ban a trick once again, but he's alive this time, though. He's not dead. That's the good point, really, when it comes to it, that he's able to stay alive. But once again, 2FACED have no issue with dealing with the ban trick. They've got these walls open time and time again. So I wonder if Arial Rise will keep doing it. Kento playing aggressive towards the master bedroom side, towards Billiards, looking maybe to jump out on someone who's opening up the main door. Good intel coming out onto Kento, but Kento can't play off of it, unfortunately. DS is there at least to refrag. He gets that kill onto Silent in return, just trading out kills, and at least one of those heart breaches off the board, but still allows Poison to open up this wall into garage.
Now, if they want to, they can put pressure on Beastly, playing in this position, both exothermics used, and the ace taken down means if they ever do want to, say, maybe rotate over to construction, if they wanted to later on, without those Selma charges, you don't have much of an option to do that. So you have to make do with what you've got, which is still quite a bit. They can put pressure on that garage. Splash still likely has one firebolt left after dealing with Wimpy earlier to put pressure on Beastly. 2 nades for Eddie as well. Wimpy looking to get aggressive, maybe retake the flat wall. If he does so, it'll make the garage players feel a lot better, but he's unfortunately taken now. Before he can do anything, Beastly does exactly what you need to do. Try to make a play, put pressure directly on the attack, taking that position. But when there's players moving all around him and surrounding him, it's difficult to come away with more than one in that situation. You're a minute 10 seconds left. You have a player on flat wall, and it's a garage push for 2FACED as they still have a minute to think things through. Poison yet to fully commit whether he wants to push in through the breach or send it up the stairs and join Splash playing inside of garage. Either way is likely a viable one. It might be better to go for the breach or the garage. Either way, Arial Arise do still have some good utility to deny this plant. 3 toxic canisters and a C4 for DS Lucas. And 2FACED don't exactly have the manpower to control down below. DS Lucas could rotate if he wants, but instead he'll rip it, sit on top of the green box, and prep the C4 if anybody tries to push in. They will spot him, but again, there's not much Arial can really do, or 2FACED can do to counter this. First smoke goes out, denies Poison's entry. DS Lucas waiting, letting the smokes do the talking, but Poison creeps over beneath the CC window. Does DS Lucas have the sound cue? He's speaking over to the area. He throws over the C4. It lands in time. Nobody can cover it. Shoot it out the air. They don't have the angle. And with 15 seconds left, they have to adapt, pick up that diffuser. But Gomez and the Valkyrie catch him on the rotate off. Kicks in the 1v2. Has to clean things up by going for the kills. One behind green box. The Tracers reveal the Valkyrie's position. It's the smoke that does him in the end. And Arial Arise get their second round on the board. This one was still almost as daunting as their first.
Oh, that was very daunting. A 2v3 right there at the end there. But still, again, 2FACED doing well early. The ban trick not phasing them whatsoever. Able to get that wall open quickly. Wimpy dispatched early again. He was peeking, trying to get kills from that, trying to peek plat. It gets picked off doing that. Kento gets peeked off too. They had intel on the push from Silent into that main door. Still, Kento unfortunately cannot win that fight against him. He loses the fight to Silent. That was a refrag from DS, but still, it's just 2 kills in the favor of 2FACED early on, and that allows them to get that push in. They take control of garage, though. Still, BC does his best. He gets a kill, goes for 1, makes it rather than a 4v3, makes it a 3v2. They have control of garage, they have control of plat. Usually those are the 2 pieces you need, but after that you need to bait out the utility. And from there, 2FACED kind of stalled there. They kind of sat for a second, trying to see if they can somehow stall this information, trying to bait out those smokes from the side of DS and I believe it was Gomez.
Yep.
Those last 2 players trying to bait the C4s, bait out the smokes. They couldn't do it. And Gomez was just ripping that C4 over and over again, just wasting more and more time. And in the end, the Poison makes its way through. The smoke cases come out behind the silver rack. Poisons makes its way through, goes for the plant in a place you wouldn't expect by the server window. But the big thing is, again, Valkyrie's on the board. There was a cam still alive in CCTV right above one of the racks, above the TV. Gives the info for him, throws C4 perfectly onto the planter. Down he goes. And from there, you just play the intel, deny the second person from getting that plant down. And from there to 1v2, last person has to try and get 2 kills to end the round.
You're in the third attempt of basement for Arial Arise. It's a much more major shift for their defensive setup. Before, it was just DS Lucas who switched. Now, he switched again, but so has pretty much everyone for Arial. Looked like there might be some more emphasis upstairs, but no, aside from Beastly playing in dirt, it's not even upstairs, it's just kind of off the site, if you want to call it that. Everyone is currently sitting down below. See also rotation from Splash onto the IQ, trying to spot any of those black eye cams. It'll be very good if there's a black eye placed inside of kitchen. Could lend itself very well to a C4, of which I believe there's actually the only one is Kento, because Wimpy has impact grenades. So instead, a heavy focus on denying that kitchen hatch based on the secondary utility held by the defense. But more importantly, because you have those bandit batteries placed downstairs, you don't have the as easy a possibility for Silent opening up those church walls if 2FACED go for the same execute they did last time. Sure, they're not contesting the early aggression from Arial Arise, but since 2FACED have been so dominant in it, maybe the better idea is to just pull back and see what 2FACED first move is and then adapt to that.
Well, once Selma charge thrown out, with impact comes out, but they can try to bait out these impacts with the Selmas and then use an exothermic later on, depending on how they do it. But this, like you said, this kind of makes it difficult for them to go for that plate run if they go for church. And in the end, they can't open that wall. They use 2 impacts. They still have 2 more in the hands of Wimpy.
Only 1 exo too.
Yeah, and they only have 1 exo. They use the other exo on dirt. So there's only 1 exo. They don't have any can openers. They don't have any utility, so this is going to be mainly a dirt and maybe a blue push. But see, the more impact comes out, can destroy his impact. No, it's a bit too late. It is too late, unfortunately. The timing was off, and now the push comes through dirt. 1 kill for Beastly. He tries to reload, unfortunately, in the face of Silent. He's not going to let him reload, so he has control of dirt. Pre-fires a 1 person inside by AK, and see if this push can make this dirt push even more of an entry into sight.
Silence always thrived in this position, using his utility, even if it's not successful, but expending it and then playing a sort of entry fragger, trying to find an opening inside of the site. I compared Exile to him earlier on a similar role on Club. It was Silent who defined it, at least in my mind, at this level, and he's doing it so well so far, but he's traded out by Gomez. His impact is 2 kills. Only for his team so far, but it still results in equilibrium for Arial. Now maybe an uncovered planter, as the only one watching is Eddie on the main hatch. You do have Kicks denying on the main stairs as well, but neither can see the C4 landing directly at the planter's feet. The fuser dropped inside the site. It's Eddie who's likely has to make the move. Kicks no opportunity to maybe push in through Ashwell and recover it. It has to be the sledge if they want to go for the plant. Yes, Lucas's feet are spotted and his toes damaged, but beyond that, it's still Arial who can firmly hold out, defend their positions, and force 2FACED to blink. Kicks crouching in, has not met any resistance yet. He's managed to find an opening, a weakness inside the lineup for Arial to find an entry point into Church, and he forms around it. Now Kicks can cover. This is the opening he needed. The oversight that happened. He flicks another one similar to Poison earlier, but far more drastic and disappointing for Arial, who let an easy round slip through their fingers.
Wow, that was a 2v2, and they denied the plant time and time again. But we start from the beginning from there. It was, unfortunately, it was like utility-wise, it was looking grim for 2FACED. They had lost, they've only opened up the kitchen hatch, and they only opened up dirt. All the Selmas went towards baiting all those impacts. And from there, they go for a dirt push. Dirt push, unfortunately, enforced. BC gets the first pick. He kills Splash. He gets refragged. Silent then sits in dirt, gets another pick, evens it up to a 3v3. Then this trade comes out once again, makes it, there was 1 player goes down inside of Arsenal, but they kill the planter. 2v2 at that point. But the big thing here is 2v2, the planter, the diffuser's in sight. They have to somehow recover the diffuser. And somehow, some way, Kicks makes their way through the site. They somehow retrieve the diffuser as well, jumping down the hatch. And they make the way into Church, and they start planting the diffuser, which caused the last members on Arial Rise to kind of freak out. They didn't know where the plan is going. They start rushing into Church to deny it, and Kicks is ready, covering both sides, gets both kills, ends the round right there.
Maybe easy round wasn't the apt way to describe that for Arial, but definitely a winnable one, and one that likely probably should have gone their favor based on how things were progressing. But it's a 4-2 half. Got to play the rounds that are in front of you now, not dwell too much on the mistakes of the past. And you're going to basement. The site that, of course, you did just lose, unfortunately. But it's a setup you're going to be perfectly fine attacking. It's one you ran extensively on the defense, Arial. 2FACED are doing something similar. They have a castle, which you opted to forego, and a Valkyrie, which you ran on different sites, but not specifically with an extended roam in this setup, and that lends itself very well. Intel denial for the attack, but intel gain for the defense by bringing that Valkyrie. One that, based on the players for 2FACED who have the capacity to get aggressive and appear to be doing so far in this match, a combination that could be lethal on this roam.
Could be. This could be a lethal roam, and we'll see if Arrowwise can deal with the roams that they've set up themselves, like you said. So it's just, is the castle that much of a difference? They didn't really bring it on Arrowwise's defenses, but we'll see so far. They've opened up one hole. They've opened up, pushed into billiards. They've opened up a cutoff. They jumped down that gym hatch, but it looks like the 2FACED members aren't really even pushing that far. They're pushing more towards that secret side if they're backing off. Eddie's still playing bit by bar, maybe looking to get aggressive on somebody in by billiards or by strip. But nobody's there for a moment. BC opens up Jacuzzi. Splash will see that open up, or hear it open up in the back, and it'll back off. But Kicks has been cut off by Wimpy. So one good pick, and now Bathroom is opened up. So that's kind of an issue here for the Muzz. You have Splash, who's trying to get back to site.
Well, one big trend we saw in map 1 was Arial dominating the entry game 9-2. First half of this map so far, it was 2FACED who won the opening duel every single round except the first and the last. This go around, sure, it might not be flawless, but Arial are certainly coming away in the first half of round number 7. The victors, they've taken out the Mozzie and the Mute. Both those C4s down. Poison hasn't even rotated back yet, and there's still plenty of time to maybe catch him on a rotate back, catch somebody inside the site getting aggressive. But if you can't do either of those, you still have 1 minute and 15 seconds to set up for the rest of the take. There's a familiar problem. Eddie below the kitchen hatch using his impact grenades as Selmas are layered on top of that hatch. They're quickly burned. They are wasting impacts to allow for Beastly maybe to open it up the exothermic, as DS Lucas only has 2 Selmas left, and that can only open up 1 hatch. Might be foregoing it, though. Not yet. There's still plenty of time. With 55 seconds left, and players seemingly rotating over to Moto and inside a bar, might be going for something, of course, over by main stairs, but more so with a focus on that Moto hatch as opposed to that kitchen hatch. Poison, the only one playing behind there right now, with support of Silent playing inside of blue. He finds an angle, but Gomez shuts him down on that very same spot. Poison will put one on the floor. Finish him off as well. There's still plenty of players who have angles on his very position. One can rotate down, help them out on the site. This Beastly opens it up. A hole will open directly in front of Poison that even then, Eddie might not be able to fully help. The decision to rotate out is likely a good one. He can still play this angle, but not put himself as on the forefront of danger as he was otherwise. 15 seconds remaining. Smoke grenades go out to deny the blue play and main hall as well. Kento capitalizes off of that right as the smoke clouds Poison from the doom awaiting him. And Arial Arise, they managed to come away with their first attacking round. Dominance in the early, a bit shaky in the middle, but a solid closer to get them round number 7.
100% right there. They opened up well. They get the pick. Whoopi gets that first pick on to kickstart us off. C4 in return, though. Traded out, but still they're able to take out Kicks anyway. They make it even. They make it well in their favor when it comes to not well, but still a 4v3 going into the execute. But the thing is, again, like you talked about, impact tricking the kitchen hatch, there isn't a lot of utility. So rather than wasting more utility on the kitchen hatch, they full use the rest of the utility on Moto and that church wall. They open up Moto hatch with the excellent charge. They use 2 of those Selmas to open the bottom of that and try and force some of those defenders out playing near the wall. Then they use the last extended charge to open a full opening into sight. And even before that, they were getting picks on members of the defense. They were able to get picks on members inside of blue. You saw that first pump into Moto, get a first kill onto the person in blue. So let's take that person's blue place. Eddie takes that place in blue. And then the person inside of church has to back off in that 2v3. And from there, you're trying to take fights on the members working in. They smoke it out. They push their way through. They start getting the plant down. And it's just that point, it's 2FACED that have to try to return into church and take those fights despite Arise have full control at that point.
Whereas Arial Arise on their defenses, when they lost, they would try to make some adjustments to the strategy, but kept the same idea throughout. We'll see 2FACED make a radical departure immediately on their next attempt of basement. They still have the Valkyrie, but everyone else is, and based on the setup, is more inclined to play closer to the site. Kicks maybe could get aggressive on main stairs a little bit early on, and right now he's sitting inside a garage, so find a drone here. But with the Maestro, the Echo, the Smoke as well, by and large, members of 2FACED will be sitting more concentrated on the site and waiting for a push in from Arial. Might be good. Arial seemed pretty adept at clearing out the roam in the previous round. Might be good to just kind of play it a bit safer back. But it does mean that Arial, who were so good at acquiring the map control and playing off of the utility and what they had managed to open up, they get to do that a lot quicker, and they can find some good angles on you, depending on where you're playing, if they can open up those soft destruction and the hard destruction.
True. There's a lot of intel, though, this time around. They brought both Echo, Valkyrie, and Maestro though. So not only you have the Maestro cams, you also have the cams on Valkyrie and the Yokais from Echo to give intel out. Eddie looking to maybe get aggressive main stairs, yes, and also a cam on these stairs if they do go for that main stairs push once again like last round. I saw also Yokai jumped on top of the beams inside a church, so there's a lot of intel to deny the push if they go for it later on into church. And that happens. But so far, yeah, open moto hatch being opened up. Eddie's below the kitchenette once again to impact trick it to make sure they can't open the kitchenette, make it difficult and waste utility. And Splash is playing over by Dirt. Probably has the Yokai watching Dirt if they want to push for it. But looks like they're opening up moto hatch. They've both exclamation charges already. So maybe the play is going to be maybe from moto have blue, or maybe just have don't open the church wall this time. Interested to see what they do this time for Arial Rise.
Well, that's what they tried to do last time, was use two Selma charges, I believe, on the bottom of the wall to open that up. It's what they're doing again this time, and one, I believe, might be no, because they're placing it on the bottom. Because they're placing it on the bottom of the wall, it's a lot more difficult to impact trick for the Maestro. Gomez does get the first pick onto, well, that very same player who was going for the impact trick. Now Poison, who has placed a shield here instead, who can play more aggressively to contest this wall. I like that adaptation from the smoke, using those toxic canisters as well. He can play and try and push the main wall attackers back, but he has used 2 toxic canisters very quickly. That last one goes, and we're still got like 45 seconds remaining. Arial Rise could probably push in once they deal with the shield.
I definitely agree. They probably could push in. This blue take as well needs to come through as well from. They already got the first pick on a silence, so you already know there's two or at least 1 or 2 members pushing from blue side. They're pre-firing behind the generator, see if they can get a kill. Kento's waiting for a peek from that member in blue. BC has made his way through. He has no external charges, but he has flashes in hand, trying to flash out, get rid of ADS so they can destroy this shield. Last canister, or one of the last canisters, come out from him onto Moto to stop the push through. Wimpy takes heavy damage, but so far there's no real push. They haven't gained any real control here. Diaz with a great kill on the Poison though. He'll stop the smoke from being alive. One less person inside a church, but Eddie's there to stop him pushing through Moto. He gets 1 kill. Elsewhere, Blue doesn't go in the way of Arial Rise at all. They both go down. Eddie still plays position. It's down to DS and Wimpy. They're both low on HP. 10 seconds left to go. Kicks is pre-firing into Moto to make sure they can't push through. DS can't get through this little angle he's made. He'll get the pick onto Eddie lying down. With 5 seconds left, he's got to rush his way into sight and get these kills on both Splash and Kicks. When he's got 5 HP, he's going to run by. Time runs out. 2FACED will take the first defense.
That's sometimes the problem when you try to do main stairs blue pushes. If you're sort of stuck outside the main wall, as I'd say Poison probably stretched it out as long as he can before he needed to use that final toxic canister. What it did allow was most of the defense to rotate into their positions. They might have lost Silent early on, but they still have the Echo, who can contest any sort of long angle watching that church wall if he wants to maybe play inside of Armory. You still have the blue players who, while they're facing pressure from Gomez, for the attack to truly have a lot more freedom to flood the site and not just try taking gunfights and have a repeat of some rounds we've seen from 2FACED so far, like we saw on Kitchen on Villa, just crashing into the entire defense and hoping the fights go your way. In order for that not to happen, you need Gomez's blue push to work. You need him to try and get a pick or cause enough chaos. That go around, not only were the players on and inside of Church winning their fights, Gomez lost his fight inside of blue. The Jaeger was still there, takes down the Zofia, and the Zofia has minimal impact when it comes to the execute. Arial Rise's big play that they were hoping for, the blue play to open things up, didn't manifest, and even then, it was already getting worse without that, with everyone losing their fights or 2FACED taking them and winning them. So good round from 2FACED, finally winning basement. They'll go to the more off-site to round things out on gym, but honestly, I feel like in terms of the 3 sites, the only real truly off one is like bar. Gym, I'd say, is pretty viable.
I would say it depends. These days, I feel like gym bedroom is more viable than freaking CCTV at this point.
Honestly, probably.
CCTV just sounds like pain at this point.
Just a nightmare at times.
It is a nightmare, and really, it's like the fact that you can roam on gym bedroom and actually play aggressive at times feels like it can be more helpful. Though it is a double-edged sword in a sense, because being aggressive can also just ruin your entire defense. But we'll see. Hey, we see some aggression here from 2FACED. They're extending towards that CCTV. You see open holes in Cash. You see a shield not only on red but also towards Cash facing that CCTV wall. So 2FACED are doing exactly that. Can we play aggressive, try and stop the CCTV push whatsoever from Arial Rise? No, let's see if Arial Rise, what they do. Are they going to face forward and try and deal with this room, or are they going to try and maybe bypass and go straight for Jacuzzi? Hard to say. There's no real denial though from the side of 2FACED, so there's no problem opening these walls up.
Opening up the wall is perfectly fine, but the issue that Arial Rise have is if they push in, it's going to be very difficult to find much ground beyond the initial breach. There's Splash and Kicks, a lot of which playing behind a shield, and the former has some cover behind these panels on the garage rafters. We have a crossfire set up on that breach if anybody pushes in. Same with 2 players to the side of there. And in fact, wisely, Arial Arise will take a page out of 2FACED book, or at least go for a similar strategy. You open up that wall, deny anybody peeking the metal balcony window, the CC window, and instead rotate over to Jacuzzi. Make sure nobody can deny playing on that wall, which there's no bandit. Obviously, nobody can deny it. So they can open that wall up, no problem. And your 2 big facets and outside walls need to open, flat wall and Jacuzzi wall, open up with a minute and a half in the round still remaining. But this is where Arial Arise need to start committing and hopefully working a pick and finding some opening. Not only does none present itself, 2FACED instead make their own.
Great shot on the Wimpy, playing the angle. Looks like they have information on the player inside the bathroom who can now try to impact trick through that hole. At least he's trying to stay alive on top of the little, table inside the bathroom, though. There's famous intel and you can't really shoot from there. So you try to shoot his feet, but that could prove to be dangerous for this push. Looks like Disc will catch that Selma, stop it from opening up the wall even further. He's going to impact trick it again, so there goes all the Selmas from them. Kento elsewhere entering for his team, but he'll go down and Diaz can take his way into bathroom, killing him, but still it's looking good for 2FACED. They're winning most of these fights. It's Diaz and Beast trying to make it up, and there's still a shield for Poison to play behind if they push into the gym.
C4 as well if he wants to send it over. But again, on gym bedroom, 2 defenders on low HP. Not nearly the same opening presented to Poison as it is presenting itself for Beastly and DS Lucas. You have more time though, but a mist drone onto Eddie, though it does turn around and spot him, so they know there's a player inside of logistics. DS Lucas finds his moment, finds his opening. He's taking out the player at the forefront of gym bedroom, and now it's Eddie and Splash for a bit more further back, but have maybe some better angles to watch and maybe play behind to deny anybody pushing in. It'll be very difficult for Beastly to get this bomb down. DS Lucas, or maybe even the Thermite as well, likely need to find a pick or do immensely well in the coverage, but unfortunately it falters. Beastly in the 1v2 gives himself up to Splash, not even well aware of the Jaeger's position, concerns himself with the Logi player. It's the construction player that does him in the end. That round, they got the CCTV wall open pretty early, but they didn't do much with it, and the defense was like, okay, we'll just play in con, play inside a bedroom, and we'll deny you and take you down once you push in through the breach.
Pretty much happened at that point, really. There's nothing more than that. It was just they opened Jacuzzi up. They didn't have much control other than that, and they just tried to deal with the bathroom player. And Kento elsewhere was getting kills, but he was picked off too. He made that entry as well for his team. But once they tried to make that push further in, they didn't get a kill on the person in the bathroom too late. They were losing fights, pushing through that Jacuzzi breach, pushing into sites. They didn't have other control either. They didn't push for logic. Like you said, they didn't push for cash. So they're just walking into sight lands that 2FACED were expecting. Though it was close, though. It was still a 2v2 at the end there. But in the end, it was still a 2v2 that 2FACED had control of. They knew where they're going to plant. They had the control they need. And they're just waiting for a misstep from Arial Rise. And there it was. Now we go on to CCTV and cash for 2FACED to start off. Their match point, though, they only need 1 round. If they win this round out, they can go on to Chalet as their last map.
And it seems like it's in all likelihood going to happen. Of Arial Arise's 3 wins, two of them have been clutches. One was a 1v3, the other was a 2v3. The third round they won, their first attacking round, was their strongest round by a wide margin. They were actually in the driver's seat, and they definitely won that round, and it was not a throw by 2FACED. Since then, sure, it's been close, like we saw the last round, but it still always felt like the odds were leaning towards 2FACED, just based on either the inaction by Arial Arise, the setup from the defense. Whatever it was, something is not clicking for Arial, not only on this map, but now specifically for their attacking sides in the past couple rounds. You mentioned how CCTV and Cash has certainly become a little bit more difficult to defend as time has gone on. It's the same can be said for Basement as well. Here, getting the plat wall open might not be as problematic. Eddie sends out a C4, but thankfully for Arial Arise, it's wasted. They don't have to worry about it too much. But also thankfully for them, with that Thatcher unbanned and Splash trying to bandit trick that main wall, they want to use the EMP grenades to deny it? They can't. They want to send somebody to the CCTV window? They can. They want to have somebody throw a nade up through the garage door? They can as well. A lot of options to do that. Will it work, though? Here's it will.
Oh, the grenade. Yeah, Splash will get away at least. But yeah, all of that worked out pretty well. They wasted concussions, used EMPs, used a grenade, and they got him out of his position. And now that with the plat wall open, what is the next step for Arial Rise? Will they going for garage? Will they going for maybe going for con instead? They still have an exothermic charge in hand. They still have the Selmos from DS, so they should have a problem, going for garage if they want to open up those garage walls. Maybe even open that single panel as well towards garage to get a better angle on the garage player of kicks. a lot of angles and a lot of different options here for Arial Rise. And so far, I might wonder, did they need that much utility to deal with Splash though?
Deal with Splash on the main wall. They used quite a lot, and honestly, if you want to get the main wall open, maybe it's a perfectly fine amount, but with nobody on that CCTV window to try and catch him on the rotate, you used it, and he got away pretty much scot-free after wasting a minute. Now you have to turn your attention to Rafters, where there is so much they have to deal with. No nades for Arial, because, again, they spent them trying to take down the Bandit. Kix even peeks up. There's nobody there playing... Well, there's somebody there playing Wimpy's Trade, but unfortunately, they were on a drone. They could not watch. Yes, Lucas now rotating in, trying to work in tandem with the other two players in Garage. Spots his head, but oh no, he can't land the shots. Can he finally do it? It's a little bit awkward, a little bit difficult, but is a 4v4 in the end. He will avenge Wimpy and get the trade. The issue here right now is, what can they really do beyond that? Splash still has a C4. He can play either on red or rotate into CCTV to throw it over the server stack. There's, in all likelihood, not going to be anybody playing below. With the C4, I should add, Eddie could play down there if he wanted. Would it be much use? But with Poison's 30 seconds of denial, all three of his toxic canisters still on board, Arial Arise have to push through an onslaught of utility in order to find some kind of opening in this round, and going for the frags really isn't that much of an option unless they can make some kind of miracle play up red work and navigate and move past all of that utility. One player is moving up red. Kento moving inside of the site, but he doesn't read silent on the table. Shuts him down. 2v3. Make that a 7-3 for 2FACED on their opponent's map pick. Even more dominant than the one Arial took theirs at. We're going to map number 3, Chalet. See who is going to playoffs and who still has to wait one more week to see if they're eliminated or they can join them too.
Maybe that aggressive on this map, but Chalet could be a different story having the Valkyrie around. We'll see how 2FACED do it on their defense first as we go to that. Looks like it was that. Looks like, yeah, games in bar as per usual.
Yep. Valkyrie on this side will certainly do well if you're playing inside of Fireplace. Having maybe some intel inside of Library will help influence your decision-making a lot better. Same goes for Library Stairs as well. Or if you want to get aggressive, maybe play a little bit early inside of Office before Arial end up pushing things super aggressively. Try to play there. Plus, you also get an idea. If they are going for a solo take and you want to meet it head-on, you can anticipate that. And if they're playing Library and you have some intel over by Master Bedroom and Office, make sure it's clear. A lot of options for how you can use Valkyrie on this site, but a lot of it revolving around adapting to what kind of take the attack is going for, and whether you should anticipate one coming from the northern side or anticipate one right on your very own doorstep or the ceiling of the site, if you want to be specific with our language.
Well, this will be to see how Arial Rise does this, but again, we see this game's bar defense quite often, having the shield on the top of Library Stairs, having the shield over by Pillar and Fireplace, and that is the kind of stopping you have. That's the kind of thing you have to start with. But Silent taking heavy damage to start us off. He'll take a lot of damage from the Library window question mark, or if maybe from far off on the Fireplace window, the double window. Hard to say, but that's kind of thing you have to deal with these shields kind of in tandem or one at a time. The floor isn't available. That's usually an easy way to deal with these shields on this map, is just having a floor as a Rotera drone. Just drive on by and destroy it, depending on how you want to do it. But we'll see if how they do it this time without those Rotera drones.
They haven't needed to do much just yet. You see two players actually prepping, sitting outside this double window. You see, almost said Selena Gomez again. You see Gomez sitting outside this window, and they'll just send it on in. The moment Kento gets that kill onto Silent, the Fireplace player, they flashed, and Splash has no idea. Splash actually is not aware whatsoever that the player's getting the bomb down inside of games. The Flash has covered the sound cue right as they moved in. Brilliant play by Arial Arise, and now Kix and Eddie are left to somehow stagger together, pick up this info, and fail to recover a very well executed blitz play. Not Blitz the operator, Blitz in execution by Arial Arise.
Yeah, Splash was really, really just unaware of what was happening.
He just didn't know. He just simply did not know.
He just was looking around. He thought it was inside a bar, looking left and right. But that started off again, like you said, with that grenade kill. You start off with that grenade kill, opens up a pick, and they could tell there was a lot of just, you see on the game's bar side, there's a lot of focus on the top floor. There's a lot of focus elsewhere on the map. There isn't as much focus on, that site itself on bar. But that person inside of stock is usually that person to, alert the rest of the team to come back to site if they are rushing. And that, unfortunately, Splash seems to be unaware that they had just jumped in the big window and had control of maybe not control, but they were in games, getting the plant down, getting the diffuser on the floor. He seemed to think that they were in bar, and that kind of led 2FACED to be, scrambling around trying to find picks. He finally gets taken out, and that's allows the rest of 2FACED members come back to site, trying to take fights on Arial Rise, who were already at that point entrenched on site. So, well, great job to Arial Rise. Start themselves off on a good footing. We go on to dining and kitchen next. So 2FACED, they're not going to retry the games bar site. They're going to try for a whole entire different site.
And it might not be, say, as easy to go for a more rush style play as we saw in bar. It might be a little bit easier to attack overall. Really here, especially if you're going you're attacking from fireplace side, you have to open at that top floor, put a little bit of pressure on it, push them back over towards, say, bedroom and bathroom, clear them out of piano and office. But beyond that, and then opening up the main fireplace wall, there's not a lot you have to do as the attack at that point. Of course, in a 5v5, the defense could still win it, especially with an Echo on the board using those yokais. If you haven't done good work to take those down, it could be problematic, but all they have besides those are the smoke canisters, no C4s. There's not a lot that Arial really have to do to open this up and push them back, and once they do that, not a lot of utility, and specifically C4s, to worry about once they push into the site and maybe, say, try to get a plant behind that table. Don't know what they're doing yet. I'm doing a lot of conjecture right now, but based on how they're attacking this, DS Lucas on the bedroom window, Gomez contending with the Aruni behind the black wall shield in the first 30 seconds, looking like they're going for something like what I said.
Well, having somebody on the tower, looks like DS was on the tower, but he's going to go actually repel on the window now to cut off those roamers, try and make them sure they can push them back. And like you said, if they can push these defenders back, make sure even to get a kill if they can, and then have that full control. But DS will down Eddie. Eddie goes to the jump out trophy to stop that control of the big window, stop them from trying to cut off these defenders. He'll get taken down in that engagement, and now Kicks, he's being pressured. He does at least have one more, castle barricade to his back, so he can get shot from that big window. But he's being cut off by the bathroom window, and they're pushing onwards into piano into that office side. And once they have control and they stop that office push, if they can open up that wall to the site, go for the plant like you said, the only thing they have to wait for is those smoke canisters and the yokais like you were talking about. Smoke, Poison has a great angle here. DS has a kill as well. The silent splash returns on Wimpy, but Poison as well. Poison's gonna kill the DS in return, a refrag for his team. And so far it's been a bloody roam clear for Arial Rise.
The blood might not be done flowing just yet. Kick's still upstairs. Yep, walks directly into Gomez. Blood is shed, but maybe not as much as he's quickly dealt with. Gomez picks up a second as well. Splash trying to retake the position and help Kicks before he's unceremoniously taken down alongside the Aruni. Poison in the 1v3. Actually spots Kento, but it's the Arial player to react first. 2 rounds in a row for the attack so far. That one looked like a little bit more difficult to take, but still not breaking too much of a sweat if you're Arial Rise.
Yeah, Arial Rise, they started us off well. Diaz getting the first pick, and Eddie who tried to jump out and deny the big window, and they do it, and they start pushing into sight. They start pushing in top floor to take out those defenders. It wasn't a dominating round for Arial Rise. They were getting, trading kills left and right. People on 2FACED were fighting back, trying to keep it even. But as they take that control, they're able to just find that control, find the people who return back to the site, cut off those rotates, leave one member in a 1v3, and there's not a lot you can do there, unfortunately, after those 2 members go down on a clean return from Arial Rise on that, end of the round, mid to end round there. So 2 rounds from Arial Rise. First one was dominating. Second, not as much, but still a great round from Arial Rise. 2FACED got to show us something on these defenses. They got to at least get 1 or 2. You don't expect to get a lot on this, on this map, because Chalet is usually attacker sided, usually. But you expect at least 1 or 2 from 2FACED.
Going back to bar, this is a perfect time to get first round on the board. Not only is it one of the better sites so far in T2, T3 North America, maybe even T1 as well. I'm more so familiar with, the T2, T3 stats because, it's my job. But going here, bar, not only one of the better sites, one you've already tried, and one that you lost in a way that maybe you should be able to expect. I'm sure even though Splash didn't see it, his team was probably able to pick up the pieces as to what likely happened in that previous round. They have the mirror window. Not only can they place focus up top, but if they want to place a mirror window down inside a bar as well, they have an option to more actively watch that plant spot where Beastly put down the bomb previously behind that half wall. So already some adaptations made to account for a similar play or even a similar plant spot, even if it happens with 30 seconds left for Arial Rise. It's exactly what you want to see, and now we're likely going to see something more traditional coming out from both these teams, but specifically Arial.
Well, last time the big thing that started us off was the grenade kill. So I wonder if they can still get that grenade kill onto Silent, get rid of one of those people upstairs, holding off that, having that roam upstairs, having those shields, or they can deal with that early. But yeah, it looks like they are going for a more traditional one. I say that, but actually they're still looking outside of library. Nobody's really going towards solo side. They are on that balcony by office, but there still seems to be that focus on this just straight to site. They're not going for any real roam clear per se for the moment. Grenade once again comes out, but Silent actually survives this time. His shield is still there as well, and he has the mirror in place too to help him stay alive in this position. And as they're just droning it out, another grenade comes out for Silent. Silent's ready to maybe even kill the kill, but he's been actually flashed at the same time. Down goes the shield, and he's flashed, still flashed, gets the kill onto Kento, evades that grenade, still alive in position. Great job from Silent, just waste utility and time and get a kill.
That was really beautiful from him. He even continues aggressing, manages to catch Wimpy off guard as a C4 exploded at the Sledge's feet. Perfect time for the alibi in all of the fire and the chaos to push on in, get a second kill for 2FACED so far. Not even half the round has gone, but almost half the men for the attacking team has completely fallen. But Eddie, maybe gets a bit over-aggressive, but in the end, it's still a 1-for-1 overall in separate parts of the map, as Silent has not even remotely been cleared out of library. Hicks finally picks up one and takes a little bit of the load off of Silent, but as the final kill comes through is a solid, dominant round from 2FACED, but specifically Silent, who despite all of the utility expended on him, leave 3 nades total. Sure, he lost health, but he never lost spirit, and he never stopped fighting.
I still say, yeah, Silent was literally the round right there. Despite being flashed, grenade coming his way, destroying his shield, he still plays by the mirror, denies Kento from pushing from that office balcony, then gets the kill on the person, I think it was Wimpy, pushing into library, and then picks another one off on top of that, inside the library. He played that position to great effect compared to that first round, and he was the anchor on that roam that Air Rise were trying to clear. So when it comes to doing that, normal strat Air Rise were stopped in place by Silent himself. And we go on next to a site. Looks like we're going to back to that kitchen site. This time there is a pulse on the board though, so maybe they're gonna let them see if they can somehow get more kills rather than having an even 3v3 when it comes to that control that they had last time. Maybe looking to try and C4 and stop them from taking that control early on.
And with the pulse as well, you can gain some intel as to where exactly they're pushing, whether they're playing a little bit aggressive, whether they're trying to focus more on piano or office. And also, if Eddie wants to go for a similar run out on that bedroom window, you can influence that a little bit more as well. Because also, Duke, I will say one thing to note, while there was a castle barricade there, DS actually rotated off that big window about at the halfway point in the round, so the person playing in bedroom didn't have a lot of freedom because of Wimpy's position on office balcony. A little bit more without that powerful position to worry about. With the pulse, you can have that active intel. Say, hey, they're not on bedroom window. You can try and make a play, push up into bedroom if you want. So I like that rotation, not only for the secondary utility, but the primary as well. Will likely do a lot to help 2FACED, who are going for the same defensive strategy. But Arial, on the opposite side, going for a different take.
Looks like it. Yeah, they're actually going for a solar take, and I know how much you love solar takes. Lynx.
Yes, I do. And they are better, in my opinion.
Lynx apparently thinks that solar takes are the way to go for this site and for the top floor site of Master in office.
I won't make like solid claims like that on broadcast usually, but that is one I will, because I do genuinely think that solar takes are generally better.
Well, it does give you away if you can gain control of those windows and use that bedroom window as well. You can cut off a lot of roamers and push them back. DS downstairs, maybe looking to try and stop someone from rotating towards that that trench door to try and run up on somebody, but someone actually below looks like they've made holes trying to stop. It's the pulse trying to get shots there. C4 comes up, won't do any damage. Sound's gonna pull off for the moment, not to get shot down as his position's been noticed by the person on rappel. Poison maybe looking to jump out, but he's aware, and somebody is somebody actually on the stairs already? Yeah, they're already on the stairs on Trophy. So that's, again, that solar take is huge because you can take control of Trophy stairs so quickly and really cut off the rotates from the defenders coming back to site. They have to return to site back the long way, really.
I mentioned the benefits of a library take earlier at how you just had to open up those walls, push the defense back, and you were pretty much chilling after that. It's a similar methodology for solar takes as well, just a little bit different execution. Problem is, so far, the only gunfight taken was Wimpy, who was moving down those trophy stairs, loses it to Silent all the way on a long angle from that pole. So now Arial getting a little bit in the weeds on that top floor. They are heavily pushing in, trying to fully clear out that roam. But most of the defense, I believe, I might have already rotated down. DS Lucas down below. We'll get the first pick for Arial in the round so far. But yeah, aside from one player, everyone else from 2FACED has rotated back down to the site, and Arial, with only a minute left, have to struggle to really not necessarily gain the control, but put themselves in positions to execute onto the site, especially since members of 2FACED down below are still pretty firmly entrenched in their positions. DS has managed to pick up the two kills he's gotten. The only 2 kills for the attack have all been because of defenders rotating downstairs into his crosshairs. Now they'll rotate back upstairs to a much better position. They know that Arial have to execute from the trophy side, either into kitchen or if they want to into dining, but likely into kitchen. That's the closer site. They can play this angles on the left and the right side. The left one taking a little bit of damage, but still the crossfire intact. And it'll be difficult to push in either from West Main or into dining as long as those players, combined with Eddie on the hatch, are still in their positions. They finally start to flood. Silent cannot react in time because of the low health. The pole's taken down as well, but Eddie, he has to wait. He can play this position. He might catch one off guard, but oh no, he un-ADS's. Can't catch DS as he rotates in. Unfortunate timing for the Jaeger. The diffuser wasn't even in his line of sight as well. Arial pick up their 3rd attacking round.
Again, a bloody round from Arial Rise when it comes to taking the top floor, but a different take this time. Going for Solar, taking that control of Trophy and, not really Trophy, but at least Trophy stairs, and for Solar, making that cutoff, making it difficult for 2FACE to return to site. But even though they had that control, when it came to taking fights, 2FACE was still winning some of those fights in return, making it still a competitive round there. They were still dealing with like Wimpy, getting killed off the rip on Trophy stairs, getting a kill elsewhere upstairs when they tried to push from that Solar side towards bathroom. And so far, but the big thing in the end was the fact that because of these fights, because they were still pushing upstairs, they pushed those defenders back towards library, towards fireplace. There's nobody on site at that point. Allowed Arial Rise to then come through Trophy onto site, and at that point, the members on site were only 1 or 2 people. There's one on short in the jungle, and there's one on site. That person goes down. Jungle goes down too. The only person left is Eddie on the hatch, who went upstairs, who was in a position to help his team out. So unfortunately, at that point, they had a control site. They get the plant down, or they just kill Eddie. At that point, was all they did really. So good try. Still a close round from 1FACE, but unfortunately, they could not pull it back due to the control from Arial Rise.
You just say 1FACED?
I thought I said 2FACE. Did I say 1FACE?
I said one.
Maybe they're 1FACE that round. I don't know.
I was sitting listening to you and looking at the setup, and then I hear 1FACE, and I was like, hold on, what? Gotta clown on him real quick. Cannot let that go unpunished. I did not.
I can't remember I said them now. I think, what did I say actually again?
Pretty sure you said 1FACE. Check the bot.
Roll
the
the
tape. Right now, as you can see, it's basement. What usually happens on basement? There is a roam. Because really, the only way you can defend this site is to roam. Not necessarily. You can win the site by anchoring. Just kind of hard to do that. And with the roam right now, Poison actually is the only one on the site. I thought there'd be like a little bit more people there. You don't have to go that hard. And if Arial actually read into that, they could very well flood pretty easily. Doesn't matter nearly as much at the moment. They're doing very well on the roam. And right as I thought Wimpy was actually about to get 2-pieced there and smoked by Splash, he's able to trade out Kento. They lose the Finka and that set of nades, but not only do they still have 3 total, Wimpy having his full set. Sure, he's a little worse for wear, but they take out the main players on this roam in library. Still a Jaeger on the close corner, though, and unfortunately, I believe they had intel in his position, but it was unnoticed by Wimpy, or if that was not him, it might have been 2FACED getting the intel. Sometimes a bit odd with the Z-pinging system. But either way, here's the nice thing right now. There are 2 roamers. Poison is literally the only one on the site. They can make this play, flood the site. If they can take down the mute, they can win this round, but unfortunately, only one taken down before Poison or after Poison gets a kill. You see the only one left. Planting below the hatch as well. If anybody from 2FACED rotates into bar, they can easily take him down, but instead it's Blue and Connector is where the 2 remaining defenders are. He'll try to throw a smoke, but unfortunately the ADS catches his smoke canister right as a Goyo shield explodes in his face. Silent on the rotate back through Blue picks up the final kill. And it seemed like a promising entry for Arial despite the loss of Kento. It came away 4-3, but there were just so many roamers stacked up outside of library that Arial might not have just accounted for all of them.
Yeah, it seemed like it might have been maybe a miscount from the side of Arial Rise. They had, 2 people downstairs, 3 go for the roam clear, and they didn't think that there were actually 4 people roaming, not just, 3 or 2. And they went toe for toe with the roamers, and unfortunately, the roamers on 2FACE came out on top, leaving just the person outside, or 2 people outside, to go for that push into sight. And from there, you saw what happened. They try to push Poison on site because he's by himself. There, Poison gets 1. He goes for 1, doesn't get traded out, but that just leaves last player in Beastly in a, honestly, was it Beastly? I don't remember who it was actually. In a 1v2. He's got a plant inside of wide, not sure where these defenders are. One's playing connector, one's playing blue. He's looking left and right, trying to find someone from 2FACED to make a mistake, but they're playing well. They're slowing it down. They're waiting for him to go for the plant, and they just kill him in the end. So great job from 2FACED. They'll take 2 rounds in the defense, which you expect to be the minimum. Maybe they can go for 3 and make it a 3-3 half, which would be great.
Especially after how well their attacks looked on Clubhouse, on Chalet, that might be something very special to look at if they're able to win this round. Of course, if they don't, they still could very well look special. Just because you do bad on your defense doesn't mean you'll do poorly on your attack. But a 3-3 would be very good for them if they're able to keep up the same momentum on attack that they did on Clubhouse going forward. For this round as well, they made an adaptation on their previous bar defense that worked very well for them, albeit mainly on the back of Silent, who was able to hold out on top of Fireplace and inside of Library despite bearing through, I don't know, 3 grenades, multiple flashbangs, 3 people all peeking him as well. Though those were more so 3 1v1 engagements that happened subsequently one after another. Maybe there's a bit more coordination. If the utility fails, more coordination in actually trying to pinch him out, maybe that'll go their way. Arial or Rise are going for the same take, so hopefully if they want a 4-2 half, this is the most up to form of those.
Oh, he's peeking through these little display cases, trying to find a cheeky angle to somebody peeking that library double window, but nobody's doing it for the moment. He's shooting out drones. Kento last time was the first casualty, trying to throw grenades onto his position, but so far looks like he's in the same. Kento's in the same position too. D is peeking through. He sees a mirror there though. It's kind of unwarranted to peek, but again, the X-Kyle is coming through to destroy that mirror. Silent pushes up instead towards the display case. The guy trying to get that cheeky pink angle once again. Maybe they're unaware of position, but the drones are there. Wimpy takes heavy damage, so does Silent. So now Silent's position is kind of vulnerable. Kicks though elsewhere, takes out Gomez, who on the Yana was trying maybe entry. Kento at this point, can he try and clean up the mess that is Silent sitting by there? And yes, he can. Actually, it was Wimpy with the grenade to clean up Silent, destroy that one member. Eddie's now by himself upstairs.
You mentioned how this seemed to be a turning point for Arial, that quickly the flood came through after Silent was taken down. They're waiting for a similar situation, but Poison, we saw him have a similar type of angle this time previously on Kitchen. Now it's a similar situation. A shotgun hole made watching one of the jump-ins into Library, seeing if either Wimpy, maybe Kento, or no, just specifically Wimpy pushes in, and unfortunately he sees him. It's DS Lucas that I meant. Wimpy downed as well. Both the players inside of Library removed off the board, and only Kento and Beastly, the 2 players who, coincidentally, in that first round were the ones to jump in, they're now the only ones left. Kento's upstairs, not downstairs, with the IGL for Arial Arise. He's managing to get 1 kill, and one of the players separated all the way. No, not actually separated inside of Dining. I thought that was him, but no. So right now, it could be an effective 2v2 on the site. Kicks playing inside of Dining, though, is a dangerous position. He can hold any of those angles in Fireplace, move onto the site if anybody tries to push through. Kento being on low HP also makes this very problematic, as it makes the attackers separated, and Kento can't do much without maybe faring 1 or 2 bullets worth of damage before it happens. Beastly manages to win the fight with Poison, gets a second as well before he's traded out, but Kento's only on 1 HP. With 30 seconds left, I don't know entirely what intel they have. If they have a flank drone potentially watching Kicks to catch him as he rotates back to the site. With 30 seconds, he could very well get this bomb down without much time for Kicks to rotate over into the site. It's going to be close. Kento has to have his gun up and be prepared once Kicks moves into the site. He slows down. He can get the bomb on the floor. Rotating out is likely not an option because of Kicks, who can potentially catch him off guard. It does manage to happen. Right as that happens, Kicks begins to make his way on in. A nade sent out to deny him getting too close to the wall. Kento has a second nade in pocket as well. So if he hears Kicks start to get on that diffuser, he can cook it and send it right at his feet. That's what he's doing right now, but he spots the feet through the floor. Kento had the right idea, but at the complete wrong time, and 2FACED secure that 3-3 half. I didn't know. That was a joke. I didn't know the rule.
I was like, I'm pretty sure you do. You've casted enough things to know that.
Poison literally asked it in chat.
I
Obviously,
didn't see that.
know.
I was looking at my phone because I have a voicemail from that phone person that
Oh
called me 5 minutes
no,
ago.
no. He asked it on the previous rehost.
Oh, yeah, I remember that now. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Ty even making sure that we see that DS Lucas was standing still, making our hearts skip a beat. That is, it is confirmed. DS Lucas is, in fact, has control of his mouse. Let's go.
Yay, we can finally play the game.
We can finally see whether or not 2FACED can attack on Chalet, which I imagine that they can. And whether Arial can defend on Chalet, which I imagine they probably can to some extent or another. I mentioned earlier, before we were rudely interrupted by 2 cursor bugs, that Arial are running a Mira on a different site than 2FACED did. Likely can, not only as you see, have a Mira to aid either a defense of a library take or a defense of a solar take. In this case, defending the solar take. You can have one on the side as well if you want to. Probably where the other one's placed. Actually,
Oh, so yeah,
Beasley
looks
hasn't
like-
placed it yet, so
yeah.
never mind.
They have, Whippy playing on the trophy stairs with some ADSs to deny a solar take. And it looks like that's what 2FACED is going for. It looks like they are going below, though, to try and deny Whippy that position. He looks like he's getting, they're going droning inside garage. They're going to see if they can open the floor up and see if they can grenade him or, shoot him off of that trophy position. Splash is going to make the way through. Nobody's downstairs to deny this for the moment. I was burp there. But we'll see what they do so far.
Gross.
We'll be looking for a kill. And I wonder, with that mirror in play, are they still going to go for the solar take?
It'll certainly be a lot more difficult, especially since you can't really get trophy control more often than not. You just use trophy to sort of deny the rotation down off of the stairs, so probably will be very difficult to do. DS Lucas could get an opening pick with the C4 right here. Last time we saw it from the pulse, it was not successful. It's not either if your goal was getting a kill, but it does do a hell of a lot of damage to kick. So even if you swing that bedroom window, if you're able to get the drop on the Nomad, you could, by taking a gunfight and winning it, which is a lot easier to win now, remove a very powerful position for the attack in clearing this upstairs floor. Eddie rotating over to provide another dimension to that, another angle to hold, this time from the piano window. Not as good as the bedroom one, but still a good one. One that is nice to hold. But beyond those angles, they have not made, or 2FACED has not made much of an entry into Solar. They're starting to now, but they need to start expanding because half the round is now gone.
Well, it looks like they're looking to try and drone out, make sure they know where these defenders are at. Kicks on the window to close out, and they have control flow now. So they have that first bit of control. They clear out the stairs. They're going to push on forward. They've made sure they can punch the mirror so nobody plays behind it. And they pushed off those defenders. And there it is. One pushing up. Sal gets the kill onto Wimpy, making the entry into Trophy. So now we're going to see whether or not Arial Rise tries to aggress. And I don't think he meant to do that. But BC elsewhere kill Splash as a return too, at least.
Even 4v4 at the moment, but health collectively in the aggregate favoring Arial Arise. But a take could catch them off guard, as never mind, all their guns are trained on the west main position. That's where 2FACED are staking their claim and staking this execute. The Beastly easily removes one as the Silent sprints up the stairs. He falls mid-sprint, right face first onto the floor. Eddie there to try and pick up the pieces from that position, but he'd be pushing by himself, especially since one is currently retaking the very spot Diana was playing. But Kento might not know, might not be aware of the sledge outside that window. As Poison has made his way into the site, Beastly takes an angle. It can't react in time. Kento watches his back, and he watches front as well. He flicks, but he rotates back down the moment the sledge retakes the fight. It's Poison alone at the moment, and he's got to catch up and help his team, but he's now on low HP. The coverage a lot more difficult now that he can't really hold as effectively as he could before. 000, Poison now the only one left. He falls up the diffuser, and Arial get the first round.
Ooh. A round where we saw same thing, going for that solar take for 2FACED. And they went below. They were trying to push out that player on Trophy. Here's what they did. Whippy pushes off those stairs. He's not going to play stairs anymore. He pushes back, and that gains that control for 2FACED. Though it took them a while. It took them quite a while to really gain the control of Solar, and they get someone on that big window. And by that point, Arial Rise had already returned back to site. Most point, we get that first pick from Wimpy, though. Silent walking down the stairs. He takes Wimpy, then walks to the hatch. I'm not sure if by accident or not. He jumps down the hatch, goes downstairs, walks up at Wild's Man, gets picked off, walking back up the stairs. And from there, that's where 2FACED started to launch their attack onto sites. But even though they're launching the attack on the site, Arial Rise is still winning those fights on the members walking in. It's still member after member. BC getting 2 picks from the corner on site. So even though 2FACED had some control, they didn't really gain any kills based on that control, and they didn't really, gain anything from it besides the control of Solar. They didn't have any vertical pressure. They didn't really take control office. So when launching their attack, it just ended up being straight up gunfights, 1v1s on people on site.
And this is definitely a situation where, well, if there's going to be 1v1s taken anywhere, it's going to have to clearing up top. Unless you can do what Arial did and rush the site, but make sure that the stock player is either occupied or incapable of defending that window jump in. You need to clear out this top floor. You can't take 1v1s on the site, and it's not really a viable strategy like we saw 2FACED do. You need to, at the very least, push these top floor members back, and if all else fails, like we saw sometimes happen for Arial, you need to try and take those ones to remove the fireplace player or remove the library stairs player playing behind that shield. In this case, it's DS Lucas in that shield position, Kento on library stairs, and Wimpy playing inside a box, the connector connecting the stairway to library itself. a 3-man roam on this top floor at the moment, with Gomez also extended far down below inside of kitchen and dining. Of course, doesn't have a C4 as he's playing Frost, does not have it, but still just holding a good position where in case they maybe try to push the upstairs or push the northern side of the map, he can contest, but more importantly, contest fireplace as well. He'll still quickly rotate back and instead rotate down the stairs to widen up his options for where he could rotate without having to fear too much about the attack cutting him off.
Yeah. Look to be that flex player who can walk around and try and do something later on, or just be that person on site to help his team out. Last time we had Splash playing the, that plant stock as Valkyrie, but didn't have quite the intel to know if they bump in. But the mirrors are going to be big here to not only deny the push, help out the play in fireplace, because you see that mirror facing the double window, but also help the person in stock to know when they jump in, if they jump in through that double window into sights. Well, some boys are going to start us off, will open up some walls towards that fireplace side. Splash is trying to get a small angle on the fireplace and trying to even get a small pick, get a pixel angle onto the head of Kento if he peeks out too far. Wimpy here is going to be looking to help out Kento as much as possible. C4 from DS thrown above. Nobody's in office to get, receive that C4, unfortunately. So that'll just make his presence known below.
We'll make his presence known below and even then waste a bit of utility, but a poor timing from Silent as Kento, or no, actually not Kento, it's Wimpy on the alibi. Doesn't manage to die to that nade. In fact, doesn't manage to die to Silent at all. He even swings across the window again and somehow manages to not take even a single bit of damage, but another nade sails on through, and with that hatch reinforced, there is no avenue to rotate through in which he would be safe. But it's a minute left. 2FACED have spent an ample amount of time clearing out box. Well, never mind. I was going to say Kento's still alive, but he's domed by Eddie, and now the upstairs is fully cleared. And that's the nice thing. Once you clear out that top floor, if you can take down both the players as well, even if you have 45 seconds, it's kind of like reading. You can still very effectively transition to that bottom floor and not be all too worse for wear if you can play your cards right. They need to be aware of DS Lucas. Playing on these blue stairs, Gomez as well can have a powerful angle contesting fireplace, as we saw him potentially do early on in the round. Now in the late round, it is of even more vital importance that they keep in mind DS Lucas and Gomez, especially now that they're the only two left. Splash taken down beastly inside of the site. DS Lucas the only one left. He gets one, but everyone else on 2FACED, they did keep an eye and a mind on those two positions, won their fights, and they even up 4-4 with Arial.
Yeah, unfortunately, start us off there. That's Wimpy trying to play the box to help his team out with that mirror facing towards the double window. But unfortunately, he doesn't have an ADS. He doesn't have a disc with him. So he's just kind of sitting there, trying to take fights, trying to keep himself alive in that box, fighting against the members on the balcony. He gets hit by a grenade. He goes down easily. And then the person, Kento, playing fireplace, playing pillar upstairs, he's playing by that shield. It peeks a bit too far to Eddie, who's just waiting for an angle onto him, sitting at the double window, fireplace window. Gets that pick on him, totally nullifies that top floor. That kind of pushes the person off library, losing both those members. And then the person inside, I just left a 3v5 at that point. And really, Gomez and Diaz kind of returns downstairs, kind of playing the bottom of blue. Gomez is on the other side towards dining, and then kind of leaves, unfortunately, the mirror on site by themselves. I believe it was I forget who it was. I think it was Beastly. Beastly playing the mirror by themselves on site. And he's just kind of on site by himself. And 2FACED will aggress, take control of him, take control of stock, take control of site at that point, and faces DS and Gomez to try to return back to site in the engagements. But they're waiting for it. Wimpy once again. Oh my god, please no.
Bro.
How many times can you rehost?
I'm no admin. But I think this one might just be a 4v5.
God, yo.
Thankfully, he did place down 2 of his bandit batteries. Fortunately, he did not place them.
Wait, he wasn't banned, he was mute.
Oh, he was mute. Sorry. I was thinking of Wimpy on a fort.
Oh, Clubhouse.
Clubhouse. So, we do stall those bandit batteries. BC is 2 in pocket. Lose some of that intel denial, so. Still not great, but I don't know, man. He at least jammed the garage wall. That's pretty nice. Shout out there.
Oh,
it's
can he?
Ooh. It's actually because of the long delay time of the X Kairos. It's a little bit easier to bandit trick those than it is before, or than it is otherwise. But still, a nice hole opened up. That is the only hard destruction for 2FACED, and Beastly destroyed 2/3 of it with 1 bandit battery.
He has none left too, actually.
Yeah, if that is not maximum gain from minimal cost for Arial, I don't know what else would be. Not an even 4v5 in terms of man count, but that did a hell of a lot of damage to 2FACED attack.
So now they can't open the walls in red. They can't open the walls from wine
Or the
cellar.
hatches either.
Or the hatches either. There is nothing else hard bridging wise they can do, and also it might fix itself, thank God.
Let's
But
go!
they have literally
It just took Wimpy!
it just would be to disconnect. No, don't say that. Don't say that. But here, the thing is, Arial side is still roaming though. So if they can get these kills on the roam, they can still win this round. Splash though still gets the pick
Ain't
on the
no
Kento,
way.
who
Ain't
had
no
the
way.
jump on him.
My man was distracted by a whole camera and still won the fight. Like, come on!
What?
Kento,
Well, Gomez needs to pick up the pieces somehow. I see he can get some kills for his team because it's a 5v3. Sure, there's no hard breaching available for 2FACED, but if you can just flood the site, it's 2 people on site, 5 in your favor. This could easily go in their way.
you have a minute 15 left. Yes, Lucas is a very nice angle. There are still some nades, so 2FACED, if they don't get too ahead of themselves, they can very effectively deal with the very minimal remaining amount of boons Arial Rise has and the plus and the upsides they have to their defense, like that deployable shield DS Lucas is playing behind, impact lifeline, couple nades. You can see, I believe somebody cooking one down the hallway. It might be wrong, though, but they can still certainly do it, rotate somebody over, take down that position, and then put pressure on DS Lucas in this spot. Gomez, you mentioned how he was one of the only hopes earlier. Well, now he's taken down. It's just up to Beastly and DS Lucas to clutch this 2v5. It starts out okay. Starts out getting a little bit better, but cannot finish the kill off the kicks. Eddie just not at all away or Beastly inside the site, but it still was a 1v5. Now it's a 1v3. You can play the trades and still come out well ahead. But Splash and Kicks, both on low HP. Silent, the one getting the bomb down at full health. That means both elements of coverage are only on 1 bullet away from being taken down. Silent also now on an HP deficit, but as DS Lucas rotates through Connector, there's a hole up above. Now everyone in the lobby is on reduced HP, and it's 2FACED in the aggregate to come out ahead. DS Lucas trying to bait the plant, but a nade sails on down. He'll have to rotate off. 2FACED knows they can play passive. They can send this up to the 5th round in their favor without taking and getting too aggressive. They'll do just that. It's a 5-4 for 2FACED, but keep in mind, Wimpy DC'd at the beginning of the round. And Ariel's bad luck does not seem to be ending anytime soon.
Now the question is Wimpy coming back?
Bro, I hope. I hope. We've been here for a while.
Oh man. Well, that round was just yeah, I had that question too, Splash. I don't know.
Yeah, listen, like earlier I thought the trash talk was a little bit unwarranted. Certainly Kento's 1v1 because, well, maybe he didn't play it the best. I got the idea. It was difficult to play given he's on 1 HP. There, yeah, like Kento should have
went out.
Kento should have won that. I mean, yeah, that's I don't know where Wimpy lives, obviously, but you're not aware. There's a lot of windstorms going on in the Midwest right now. Actually, we talked about Exile earlier. Exile at where he lives, 100-mile-per-hour winds.
Yee.
So a lot of wild times going on in the US of A right now.
So when does it turn from very high-speed winds to tornado?
I imagine when it starts going in circles and sucking up the furniture and farm animals. Usually, once a cow takes off, I believe that is the scientific sign a tornado has occurred.
Oh, that's great. But anyway, so we're at a 45 now. It's not looking good
We
for
are?
Arial Rise.
I wasn't aware.
No. The gray box is actually just an invisible player.
5 seconds left before insertion.
Yeah, so not great, but
No.
could be worse.
And especially on attacker
Could be a
side map
3v5.
like Chalet.
I believe.
I guess I believe too. See if someone from Arial Rise just picks up the pieces and goes crazy and goes Super Saiyan or something. Because otherwise, I don't know how they're gonna win this. Especially now that we're on kitchen dining and they have to somehow like try to defend the top floor for a substantial amount of time or decent amount of time. I don't know.
That's the problem is you can't really. Obviously, with anything, you're obviously not gonna be able to defend it as effectively. You're down a man. But with the top floor, you're gonna need to have a lot of people on the site because if it's 2-2, it's a lot easier for 2FACED to flood the site down below, especially since vertical on master bedroom or inside of a master bedroom, looking down at the kitchen dining isn't the easiest. Sometimes you can get those holes, but it's not really going to do you a lot, especially if 2FACED don't give themselves up to those holes. You can try your best to get aggressive. Gomez and Kento certainly will, as once 2FACED go for their initial take, they can afford to rotate somebody up, even afford to do a little bit of damage to Eddie, using one of the defense's only C4s, 1 of 2. Do some damage onto Eddie. Another player getting aggressive on that angle, but he'll back off momentarily. Arial are doing their best, and I
jumping in.
admire that.
Gomez.
But if they can manage to take these players down on the solar stairs, this could be massive as the C4 goes out. Silent pushing down for
Does
some
he know he's
control.
there? Oh, but
Does know, unfortunately. DS Lucas plays for the trade, but still favoring 2FACED as you started out in a 4v5 the moment the round began.
One's outside trophy window. Splash looking to refrag right here onto the Mozzie. Kento goes down elsewhere to Eddie, who was playing outside by the windows, by the balcony and bathroom. Splash just knows one's there. Pre-fires, can't find the kill. Allows for DS to rotate back to sleep, but DS is aware. They're pushing trophy and they go down the trophy stairs. BC and Smoke just kind of playing it through. It's a 2v4 now. As they're looking to try and hold us off, but vertical pressure is now coming their way as they have full control of the top floor. Eddie can just take this time, open up the floor above them, and just see them wreak havoc and push these defenders into places where the rest of 2FACED are expecting them.
And that is, of course, it's a 4v5, but that is what you want to see from 2FACED in this situation, not getting ahead of themselves. Beasley goes for about as good of a play as you can hope for in this situation. Costs a lot of his health, but in a 2v4, starting out with the man disadvantage, you're already going to need to do something to make it work. He's eventually taken down. He's on 1 HP. There's not much he can do. DS Lucas with 30 seconds left. No C4. Has to clutch a 1v3. Spots one. Almost actually manages to flick. That would have been insane. I would have lost my mind. But he didn't land it. And it's now match point for 2FACED. Of course, we said earlier, and if you're just now tuning in, Arial Arise are currently playing a 4v5 because Wimpy's power keeps flickering on and off. So might see if we can get him back in here. He can connect, but again, as I mentioned, with the overall weather situation going on in the country right now, it might be
I don't know his power's back on even.
Yeah, might be wraps for Wimpy and wraps for Arial by extension.
Yep. This could be it right here. Looks like there's a pause right now. Maybe someone's reconnecting maybe. But anyway, yeah, that last round was just, they try to play aggressive. They're in a 4v5. So now they're trying to figure, is it a timeout for 2? Who's there? Whose timeout is it?
I think it's just maybe seeing if we can get Wimpy back in the lobby, just like assessing the situation, maybe.
Well, they're saying just continue this.
Oh, well.
Well. Yeah, let's go with it. Hey, just end it now, I guess. So, well. Unfortunately, we had like 3 or 4 rehosts for this issue. But only that Wimpy's having power issues. But then we had, Gomez had the cursor bug twice in a row, which was just pain. So, well. Here we go. Match point for 2FACED. Looking to just finish them off, put the nail in the coffin, and end the day right here. At least end this match.
Yeah, unfortunate for Arial. Obviously, the situation completely out of their control. We'll say, 2FACED, they haven't. This is not to fully take away from their victory if they do end up winning, because they have looked very good, Benny. I think we can both agree that they have looked dramatically better than not only how they looked in CL, but even how they've looked before SES started. They definitely have been making a lot. Obviously, they made some changes, brought in Poison, definitely grinding, and the work seems to be paying off as they have done a very good job against Arial so far. But of course, there's a bit of an asterisk to it because on the final map, we have this. Wimpy will finally return. Ironically enough, the players insisted on unpausing, but Wimpy might have been able to actually make it back in the lobby. He had continued to pause. Way it goes sometimes. We'll see if they can still manage to close this out, even it up 6-5, despite the man disadvantage.
That'd be crazy if they could even this up, let Wimpy come back in the game, and then tie it up 6-6 and go to overtime. That would be crazy to see. I would love to see that. But it's a 45 on the basement site. Last time, even though they ran out of hard breaching because of the tricking done by Beastly, they still won the round because of the man advantage. They got the kills they needed. There's a 2v4 on site. Once again, Beastly looking to destroy and ban trick here. Can he get these off? And they're throwing again all of them on there, but the grenade's in the way, so he can't ban trick this. So all those are going to go off, open up the full wall. But again, I guess 2FACED don't want to go for that wine side or open up the hatches because again, they don't have any X-Kairos left.
I mean, obviously they're dedicating all their hard breaching to the front side. They want to go that side. They would just open it up and ignore it completely. But it is always a little bit risky. You're heavily committing to that side of the map, but they managed to down Beastly. Not actually finish him off. It's Gomez to technically get the first pick of the round. He found the sledge, but he's running upstairs right now and almost did walk directly into the crosshairs of Splash, but he manages to evade the sightline successfully. And it's an even 4v4. 2FACED might have opened up that wall, but in all likelihood, that would have happened in a 5v5 anyway, so it's not looking terrible. Beastly finished off, was on low HP, so he was in all likelihood going to die as well. It's going to be difficult, but this is winnable for Arial if they can make it work, with Poison getting the bomb down, though, and now Silent on the coverage. They fully entered the site. Yep, that's going to be the game. 7-4 for Arial Rise, or 7-4 for 2FACED, excuse me, and as Poison said, it's just unlucky.